The show that some people thought last Friday got canceled. Big Sales, how you doing? I like the element of suspense. I actually like that. What happened? Is it his communistic California cable again? Which it is. Is it JAKIB? You know, these people are like the Gambino crime family. You get whacked, they never see you again. That's what Joe Krause and Xander like. They're like the Gambino crime family. Hey, what happened to Jody? He got in the back of the head. That was the end of it. What happened to that guy, Harry? I don't know. He's out there sleeping with the fishes. What do you want? I don't know. Cecilia necktie. I actually like the element of suspense. Hope all had a great weekend. And it was a great sports weekend. By the way, we are 30 days out from the start of training camp. We're here, boys. We're here, girls. Some of you girls that fits. We're here, dude. Your 90-man roster is set. You're going to camp, obviously, with James Bradberry. There's a lot of question marks going into these training camps for a lot of teams, not just the Eagles. There's a game 7 tonight. I can't wait for Edmonton and Florida. I'm rooting for Edmonton tonight. They came roaring back down 3-0 in Edmonton, but then again, wait a minute. I got to root for America, so I can't root for a Canadian. Sorry. I'll have to take that back. Nah, I'm not rooting for some Canadian team. I can't have that. You know, I got to keep my stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Forget it, man. I gotta go with the Panthers. Yeah, got to hang in there, red, white, and blue. Oh, and by the way, did you see the love that JAKIB and Big Sills and all of you got with your boy Mark Holmes? So Mark Holmes went and I could have hooked him up with an autograph if he wanted from Michael Irvin. So he went to a Cowboy autograph session. Charles Haley was there, and I think that stuff's pretty cool. People like doing that. Again, these autographs and memorabilia that get signed, they're like stock certificates. A lot of that stuff goes up in value. Sports merchandise and memorabilia is one of the hottest markets out there when it comes to investing money in. So Mark Holmes was there over the weekend, and he saw Michael Irvin. And I posted it on my Twitter page. Hey, we got a mutual friend, Dan Sileo. I show up on the show on JAKIB Sports, a national football show, with Philly 500 and Dan Sileo. And Mike goes, oh, that's my guy. That's my boy, man. I know he called me the other day. I got to get back to him. Mike's been going through some stuff, obviously, with his wife. So he made a deal with Mark. And I got a text over the weekend that he's going to come on during that Wednesday segment with Philly 500, Mark Holmes, Michael Irvin, and myself. And you. I was like, okay. So he told him that there. And so, like, you know, I got to figure out when we're going to be able to do all that. I don't know if we can have all those voices on. Can we have that many folks on? Xander, can we have the 3 of us and then Michael too and have 4? Can we do that and put 4 people on at the same time? Xander says, yep. All right. So go to that video and watch it. I like it, man. So I got to hand it to him. So I'm watching Birds 365. By the way, we're trying to get to 200 likes as we do each and every single day, hopefully without any interruptions today. We try to get to 200 likes. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. You know, I heard Johnny Mack talking about something that, and Xander was talking about, as we're 30 days out from the start of training camp, there's some things are you thinking about right now as you get ready to start your football season, 30 days out, which is insane. I heard John saying something about practice. And I heard him saying something about, hey, you know, Jalen's working on some stuff with Kellen Moore, the new offense, and what have you. And I heard him say something. You're not trying to win practice. I couldn't disagree more. Where are you going to learn how to win? In a game? You practice winning on every play that you're challenged. By the way, you think you make your football team by what you do in a game? You make your football team by what you do in practice. That's how you make a roster. Some of these guys don't get in games. How do you think they make the roster? By winning practice, winning every rep. If you don't have the mindset that you're in a championship mode at all times, no matter what the play is, no matter when it is, a Tuesday or a Sunday, I get the wrong guy on my roster. I want guys who are willing to pay the price every day, not on Sundays. Who are you, the Cowboys? That's the Cowboys mentality. I want guys that want to win a play every day. I want guys that practice championship tempo every day. You know where I learned that from? Being around Jimmy Johnson. You don't just try something for a half-ass effort. I completely disagree with that mentality. If you're not going to win it, why do it? So, Sills, that would mean you're going to be a pro player that is going to take up for Philly. Can you handle that? That seemed to bother you last week. Dude, does it really seem to bother you or bother me when somebody starts talking shit on you guys? I don't know if you've noticed it, Bob. Okay, if you noticed it, I kind of stick up for you. I can't believe it. Cal, Jimmy Johnson taught you that, Sills. I've told you guys this before. Guys like Joe Paterno and Barry Switzer and Buddy Ryan come down from the Eagles. He used to look over at all of us. This goes to John McMullen's comment that was on Birds 365, which was awesome, by the way, today. Good job, Xander. Xander will be with us at 3:30. Gary Cobb's at a football camp. He'll be with us tomorrow. Okay? So, they used to come down to our practices all the time and go, how do you get these guys to play so hard all the time? You know what Jimmy would say? It's their competitive fire in them. These guys never take a play off. It wasn't just me. It was 70 of us. Nobody took plays off. We practiced harder and played harder during the week than we did on Saturdays. And he carried that over to the NFL. The games were always easy. The practices were the most competitive time in my entire college career. And that was probably like that when it was at Alabama with Nick Saban. Our roster has upgraded tremendously. Nafiz, where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Just curious. Where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Edge rusher, you haven't. Where would you say that? Where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Where? I'm just curious. Center? I don't think so. Secondary, that's yet to be seen. You don't know. Corner stunk last year. You got guys that never played an NFL down. How do you know? You don't know that you've upgraded. You've never drafted anybody in Howie Roseman's tenure that's been decent in the secondary. How do you know? Linebacker? You haven't upgraded at linebacker. You don't know that. You've gotten a bunch of guys that were released by other teams. Every guy that's playing your linebacker position was released. How do you know you've upgraded? Gardner Johnson's an upgrade. Gardner Johnson's an upgrade. Your linebackers are not upgraded. You haven't had decent linebackers since Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. And you know this. And you know this. Your best linebacking core was 2022. Barkley's probably an upgrade. So Barkley and Gardner Johnson. And you lose depth in defensive tackle and also at center. Some were former Pro Bowlers before being released 4 years ago. Sills, I think quarterbacks are the exception to the rule. You're learning what happens with certain plays and concepts. Okay? Yo, our linebackers were bad. Those linebackers that you had a year ago were rated higher than the ones you have starting right now. Go look it up. Zach Cunningham had a higher rating than anybody you have on the team right now. Center, you haven't upgraded. I don't think that's going to be a drastic fall off, though. I actually have great expectations for Cam Jurgens. I think Cam Jurgens has a shot to be a Pro Bowler. Seals, you know damn well the cornerback got up. No. How? Get this. Steven goes, you know damn well the cornerback position got upgraded. How do I know that? From a guy who played in the Mid-America Conference? That is such an asshole statement. A guy who's never played a down in pro football, he's saying, well, I know it's upgraded. You don't know that. Let's see it play out. Hey, let me ask you this. Are you under the assumption that Quinyon Mitchell is better than Cooper DeJean with that mentality just because he was drafted higher? Is that your mentality? Or is Cooper DeJean better? How do you know? I don't. I know he has more opportunity to get on the field because he could play in the slot, nickel, and corner. Rodgers is an upgrade. You don't know that. And here's the case. See what Cole says? Rodgers is an upgrade for Bradberry, Sills. Then why is Bradberry still on the team? Hey, Cole, if he's an upgrade, why are they paying a player $11 million? If he's an upgrade, why is he still on the team? Why is he still on the team? He's not get this, Mr. International, he's going to get traded or cut. Traded? Really? So who's going to pick up the next 2 years, the cap hit, and $11 million for James Bradberry? What general manager with any kind of brain cells would make a shitty move like that? Who? Let me take the Eagle problem on and make it cost me more money and give up a draft pick? Why in the world would I do that? When I could wait for them to cut him and pick him up for the league minimum. That is asinine. Nobody on the planet with any kind of common sense is going to trade for James Bradberry. Hey, and get this. You could cut the player if you're the Eagles and save $6 million. Why don't you do it? If you cut James Bradberry, you save $6 million. He's scheduled to make 11. You cut him, it's 4-3 hit on the cap. Why in the world would you not cut him? Stills, any chance Bradberry stays for depth or does cutting him say it saves money? But I think the Eagles aren't sure yet. You know why? Because of what I just said. Dude, nobody absolutely. Your secondary has tremendous upside. I'll give you this. I think there's some good-looking potential. But I also happen to think that it's fool's gold, that the offensive woes of Hertz made those guys look a little better, because if that was the case, Bradberry would have been cut if they were so sure that's what that was and what they were watching. He'd have been cut. Here's why. You're 31st. Get this. Think about something right now. You're 31st in pass defense. Why would you keep him? You can't get any worse. Play the young guys. Why is he still on the team? Because of what I'm telling you, not what you're saying. Vic Fangio thinks what I'm thinking. I don't know what we have yet. We'll see. once they get into competitive, controlled scrimmages, and also in exhibition football, that's last year. Dude, you're only as good as the last game you played, jackass. These guys have never played. How in the world can you say that an NFL guy is going to line up against Jordan Love, who destroyed the Cowboys secondary, who had Pro Bowlers in it, and you're going to line up with rookies? Really? Where do you get that from? Where? I'm not telling you they can't be good. I'm telling you that you have never exhibited anything when it came to drafting quality corners. You have not. Let's see them play out. You can't name me one corner in the last 15 years you drafted that was good. Don't you get it? Both your corners you traded for and you signed. You didn't draft them. Your two starting corners as of right now were not drafted. Lito fucking Shepherd. How many years ago did you draft that guy? 17? How many years ago did you draft? Let me see here. When was Lito Shepherd drafted? Is anybody? Troy Vincent. He works in the NFL front office right now. 20 years ago, you drafted Lito Shepherd. Yeah, that's quite a record. Good grief. Close to 20 years. Dude, I'm not dogging the kids. I'm tempering your expectations. Relax. Hey, dude, if you guys continue to jump in front of the start gate like you did a year ago, you're going to come crashing down again. I'm telling you, I told you after New England a year ago, that's not a good defense. And it played out. I thought they'd get a little better. They never did. It never got better. Jalen Mills? Who the fuck is that? Jalen Mills. And by the way, Isaiah Rodgers, you didn't draft him either. All of your decent players that you have in the secondary as of right now were either traded for or you signed from other teams. Gardner Johnson, Darius Slay, James Bradberry, Isaiah Rodgers. You haven't put one person in the secondary that's decent yet. So don't make it sound like you're some sort of gurus in drafting secondary guys. You were 31st last year in defensive pass defense. A break. All right. I heard something that Xander said on Birds 365 this morning. I implore you to watch that show. It's pretty damn good. He brought up Jeremy Fowler's comment. And it troubled me. Jeremy Fowler made the comment that the Eagle offense is meshing, and what we're learning is that Jalen's taking more accountability, and he's more vocal, and he's more entrenched in the offense. And there's a meshing of the old and the new. And I was like, wait a minute here. So Jeremy Fowler, respected NFL guy. Nick Sirianni said the same thing. You know, we're going to try to take some of the old and new. I thought Nick was full of shit. I'm starting to think Jalen Hurts is full of shit. Okay, because now you have Jeremy Fowler. Now, did the Eagle office tell him that? Because he goes, I'm being told, or I'm learning. Isn't that what the phrasing was? I'm learning that Jalen Hurts. Did someone tell him that? Is there some sort of narrative coming out of the Eagle PR department that you would reach out to Jeremy Fowler? And now Jeremy Fowler is saying that what Jalen Hurts said about a 95% offense and reconstruction of a new offense. Here's another guy. Now you're using a national guy too to dispute what Hertz is saying. I'm asking a question. Jeremy Fowler came out and said, there's a meshing of the old and new. I'm being told. Isn't that what the quote was? By the way, this is not gossip. This is from Jeremy Fowler himself. Who told him this? He wasn't at practice. He said, I'm being told. Okay, so he wasn't at practice. How can you make a statement like that unless somebody told you that? Okay, so somebody in the Eagle office told him that. Would you not agree? It is the narrative being pushed out. I'm asking a question here. You guys can disagree with me if you want. Jeremy Fowler on a tweeted out, I'm being told that Jalen Hurts is taking more responsibility and more accountability. This is where I'm kind of paraphrasing here a little bit. On the offense from a year ago to this year. A couple days ago, it was Howard Eskin saying, no, it's more like 20%. Okay? So now you got a national guy, a local guy disputing Jalen Hurts. Someone says, so what? My point is, why is that so important? It's not important to me. Why is it important to the Eagles? If he fails? Why is that so important to the Philadelphia Eagles? To have that out there like that. Jeremy Fowler wasn't even at practice for that comment. How would he know? Can someone answer me that? Jeremy Fowler was not at practice when he tweeted that out. How can you make a comment about Jalen Hurts being more, and where you had to get that from somebody inside the front office? Telling Jeremy Fowler, hey, Jalen, offense is not new. It's a meshing of the old and new. And Jalen's really, now again, they didn't shit on him, but they did shit on that 95% comment. Prince, I'm not throwing shade either way, but Prince, you're right, some of you. I don't give a shit. Why do the Eagles? Why do the Eagles care so much? I don't think it's a big deal. Why do they care so much? That you would go to a national reporter and tell him something, and he wasn't even in Philly for the training camps. And again, like I said, I don't give a fuck. Why do the Eagles care so much? That they would have to have that out there like that. Why? Control, Joseph? Yeah, controlling of the narrative. I heard Xander say that about, and I go like this, and I looked through Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly. Well, how did he know what was being told to him was the truth? Don't you have to be at practice to see something like that, like John McMullen? John McMullen's at practice. John McClain's at practice. That's not what they were saying. They were saying something completely different than what Xander Krause was saying today. Why is that so important? You know why it's important? Because that organization is going to do every single thing they possibly can, never to look bad, even if it's the smallest, stupidest shit. That's a stupid nothing burger. But it just shows you the pettiness. It's, dude, I'm on Jalen's side. Believe it or not, I'm on Jalen's side. You know why? I think Jalen is giving himself an off-ramp because these guys are so fucking petty that little shit like that doesn't bother you and me, bothers them. That 95% is an indictment on Nick. Dude, the wide receivers even came out and said, we have more freedom this year. I'm with Jalen. I'm with Jalen Hurts on this. Hey, man, these guys, you're that fucking petty that you care that much that you called a guy in New York City who wasn't, like I said, I looked through Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly to watch any OTA or minicamp. How does he know that's true? Unless somebody from the front office told him, like Howie, or somebody that works with Howie, or a coach, or Nick. It just doesn't make sense that you would be so freaking petty like that you went out of your way to dispel and dispute that 95% new offense. I thought that was weird. Again, I heard the guys talking about it, and I went back in Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly. How do you report on something going, I'm hearing? That's gossip. Jeremy Fowler was gossiping. He wasn't covering the team. He was gossiping about the team. And he's a national guy who covers the team. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. That's not my gig. That's not ever what I've done. I just like, wow. By the way, our pre-camp Big Sills NFL Power Rankings. We're going to do that. I'm going to ask a question here in a second because we're now 30 days out for a lot of teams, not just the Philadelphia Eagles, that are going to start training camp coming up. There's no question the most important thing to be watching during this offseason and going into training camp, it's not the relationship with Jalen Hurts and Nick. It's the relationship with Jalen Hurts and Kellen. How's that going to work? What's the number one concern? What's the number one concern that you would have with Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore? What would be the number one concern? Jalen's ego? I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Is Hurts truly coachable? Wow. Ego, and are you coachable? Okay. Moore doesn't fit his play. That is a spectacular take. Kellen's ego. Too complicated for him. Angelo said he heard it from somebody else. That's not reporting. That's gossiping. That's gossiping. That's not a report. Reading defenses, Sills. Hurts never running motion or reading defenses throughout his career, including college. Kellen Moore's offenses will fail if Hurts can't use motion to diagnose and create mismatches. That's a well thought out take. The fact that Hurts can't read defenses. These journalists are puppets. I wrote something down before we continue on that. And these are all spectacular takes. These are all, you guys are on your A game here today. Very good. You guys are on your A game here today. I wrote something down. You got to remember something. When you talk about Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, I was talking to somebody the other day. They asked me who I compared him to. You know who I compared him to? I compared him to Jason Garrett. He was more in that line, in my opinion. He's more of a Jason Garrett kind of guy. Can Jalen adjust to more and more help Hertz? Yes. These are all really great takes. Remember something about a puppet. Some people in here think he's the best coach in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to always remember something about a puppet. They have no guts and they have no heart. Okay? They have no guts and they have no heart. That's what a puppet is. I saw somebody mentioning, and somebody was telling me that guys were talking on IP and they were comparing him to John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh picks his own coaches. John Harbaugh picks his own coordinators. John Harbaugh is knee-deep in personnel decisions because that's the way the Baltimore Ravens run their operation. It's a different dynamic. I can't believe the one thing that we still have here is that there's still some people believe that that coach has some type of say in anything. He has zero say. But again, this is where I started the program out by saying this. That guy there, okay, they were so upset with Jalen's comment that they're being petty with Jeremy Fowler. I dislike the narrative that suggests Kelly is uncoachable. Kelly is unable to coach a running quarterback. As a coach, you should adapt to the talent on your team. Prince, do you know why Nick Sirianni failed as an offensive play calling coach? Why do you think he failed as an offensive play calling coach? Failed miserably. Last year was his offense, and the year he started in Philly. Why do you think he sucked so bad as a play calling head coach? Any ideas why Nick failed? And we'll circle back to Kellen and Jalen. Why do you think Nick has sucked so bad in Philly? JM, right there, Xander. JM. That's exactly correct. Because Hertz isn't Phillip Rivers. And somebody just said, well, Kellen Moore should adapt and create an offensive play calling system for Jalen Hurts. Nick couldn't do it. What makes you think Kellen Moore will do it? And if some of you think Nick hired Kellen, Nick Sirianni is a Phillip Rivers guy. He's a Phillip Rivers guy in Indianapolis. He was a Phillip Rivers guy in San Diego. Shane Steichen's the guy that changed the offense. And by the way, that's who Shane Steichen is. Look at the guy they drafted. He didn't draft a drop back guy. He drafted an RPO guy. He had every opportunity in the previous draft to draft a quarterback that was a 7-step guy. He didn't. Why? Because that's Shane Steichen's forte. You guys are under some sort of misconception here that Kellen Moore, who's never coached an RPO player, is going to dramatically change his game. I heard John say that. Where in the history of his coaching and his time in the NFL has he ever done that? Change the style of play that fit the player. Where has he done that? Nick tried it and failed. But Kellen Moore will? Kellen Moore will. Why? Why? Hey, by the way, did you see the list? What the guys were talking about on First Take today about the coaches that are on the hot seat? Sirianni's 3. Nick Sirianni's 3. And he's been in the playoffs 3 years in a row in a Super Bowl. And he's on the 3rd hottest seat of any NFL head coach. How's that for you? Right? Also, firing Doug Peterson hurt Jalen's progression. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. Still, the issue this year will be Moore's ambition to be a head coach pitted against Nick's self-preservation and job security. Hertz will be the weapon both will try to use. It's a great take, Bob. You got one guy in the hand that wants to be a head coach badly. You got another guy who's saving his job, and you got Hertz in the middle. You think that's a healthy dynamic? I like the defensive dynamic. Hey, Vic, go fix the defense. Doesn't it look like to me that everybody on the defensive side, hey, Vic, fix it. Go ahead. Well, everyone's concerned about the number one side of the ball, and that's the offense instead of the defense. And you're like this, the defense needs more care. Go ahead, Vic. That's because you got all your money spent on one side of the ball. What you're saying that he's uncoachable. I never said that. I said, I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to look like this year as a coordinator. Kellen Moore this year will never look the same as what he looked in Dallas or in Los Angeles. It'll be the first time he's ever coached a player like that in his entire coaching time. 5 years in Dallas, 1 year in Los Angeles. He's never coached a player like Jalen Hurts. Ever. Or an offense like what I think they're going to do. Or what some of you are suggesting they're going to do. I don't think that. I think they're going to coach him like Dak. I totally believe they're going to coach him like Dak Prescott. We have a play calling head coach who calls the owner's game, not calling the game that's happening in front of him. That doesn't mean that Moore can't do it. No, it doesn't. It means it's like talking to me about a rookie cornerback. I don't know. I know this. Sean McVay going into a football season as the play caller for the Rams, pretty confident in that. Kyle Shanahan, I'm pretty confident in that. Matt LaFleur, pretty confident in that. The kid in Houston, Slowick, I'm pretty confident in that. Johnson in Detroit, I'm pretty confident in that play calling. Those are Andy Reid, obviously, in Kansas City. I'm pretty confident in that. Those are your great play callers in the league right now. This is a brand new experiment for Kellen Moore. He's coaching a non-traditional drop-back quarterback, which he never has. Okay? Jalen loves to be coached hard, so why would he be hard to coach? I never said he was. I never said he was. Kellen Moore played the quarterback position. And I've seen more offensive plays than Nick quarterbacks understand the position, even though they haven't run it themselves. That's the difference. How do you know when you're Kellen Moore running an RPO when you've never play called it in a game that you have a feel for that? See, I think the offense is going to look good in 25. I think you're getting ahead of your skis here a little bit to think that this thing's going to look great this year. You might want to pump the brakes and give it some time. You're going, but Sills, look at all the talent. You had all the talent last year. It didn't matter. Dude, everybody had good years except the team. So you're saying the spots on Jalen's leopard will be hard to change. No, I'm talking Kellen Moore's spots on his back is going to be hard to change. See, okay, so who's going to change? Kellen Moore or Jalen? Who's going to change here? This is the confusing part of this. Are you making an offense for Hertz? So that means Kellen Moore's changing. So then another guy that you hired and paid for, completely different than anything he's ever done in any place, in any stop in his coaching time. And you guys are sitting there going, he's a great play caller. Well, how do you know that with a brand new offense? If that's the case, well, the narrative came out listening to Xander and the guys this morning. Jeremy Fowler saying it's a meshing of the old and new. Okay. Hertz is saying it's brand new. Okay. What is it? Is it a new offense or not? Why can't you ever get clarity questions out of that place? Is it a new offense? Or why is that so fucking hard to answer? Hey, coach, is it a new offense? Yes or no? Why can't anyone ask a simple question? Hey, we've been hearing conflicting comments from everybody, from Jeremy Fowler to Howard Eskin to Jalen Hurts to Nick. Is it or is it not a new offense? You never get the truth. Dude, that question has not been answered. Has it? It's been how long's the offseason been? February? Since the Super Bowl? Since February. They can't answer the question. Is the offense new or not? Yes or no? I can't wait to the next time that Nick and Howie or whomever is sitting at a press conference when someone will have the baguettes to just say this. Is it or is it not a new offense? Yes or no? And I don't want to hear an explanation. I would ask really the question, hey, look, yes or no? Is it a new offense? I don't want to hear an explanation so that you could take us off the path. Dude, you can't get the simplest fucking thing answered ever. That's a frustrating thing this offseason has been. Nobody tells the truth. Why the Eagles create such BS? Hey, you tell me this. Why can't you just answer the question? No, it's not. Okay. I'll believe you. You've won games. Damn, Boise State ran an RPO style offense when Kellen played. He ran a lot up there? Did he? I'll have to look his numbers up. Eagles give mixed messages to confuse the public, media like you, Sills. I'm not confused, senor. I just want a yes or no question answered. Is it new or not? You really? Hey, senor, you're under the assumption I'm a really super smart guy. I'm not. That's why I don't talk super smart. So you're giving me more credit. I'm a yes, no guy. Okay, I'm a yes or no guy. I can't believe nobody can answer. I can't believe that you just don't want the question answered. You know why? You don't want it answered. Because that means the focus goes on one person. Okay? It either goes on Hertz or the staff. Seals, Howie and Jeff have set up a toxic situation on this team. The OC and head coach will be fighting for the same seat the minute something goes wrong. The system Moore will run does not. I got it. I agree. Players and coaches should not be giving people the truth or what their offense and defenses are going to look like in 2024. I'm not asking you to describe the offense. I'm asking you, is it new or not? Quarterback said it's new. I got it from him. Dude, don't you understand something here? I didn't make that up. I got it from the quarterback's mouth. That wasn't God. A lot of you people like to be lied to. I just want a simple, okay? I just want a simple question answered. There's so many conflicting things going on here. I don't know. Does it give a competitive advantage to know what style of I didn't ask you to tell me the style of offense. I asked you if it's new or not. I didn't ask you to dissect it. I didn't ask you to dissect. I asked you, is it new or not? Dude, the Jeremy Fowler comment is a fucking joke. Holy cow. Do they have mouthpieces for them? Bob Lang knows what he's doing. Hey, you want to get something out there with using a guy's name? Hey, Jeremy, guess what we are going to tell you here? Jalen's doing this. Jalen's doing that. Oh, he's looking great. Oh, he's doing this. And he comes out going, I'm being told. What kind of fucking reporter is that? It's like that Adam Schefter guy talking to me about game strategy. What would he know? He reports on guys being injured or not, or trades. What would he know about game strategy? The funniest thing I ever hear is on that Monday Night Countdown that he's on it, talking to me about in-game. And I'm like, what in the world is that guy doing? What would he know about in-game anything? Has he ever been in a coaching room before? Every time I see Adam Schefter, I laugh on NFL Game Day. Hey, trades, potential trades, he's great. Same with Fowler. That's where their expertise stops. What would they know? What would they know? Fowler can't afford to report something like that without a valid source. You're damn right. Bob Lang calls him and tells him. Offense isn't new. They don't want the coach to look like Jason Garrett. Read the tweet. He wasn't at Eagle Camp. So are you working with Moore? Are you working with Nick? What is it? What a crazy ass dynamic they have there. And this is the shit I talk about all the time with your organization. You're right here. And you do the pettiest and dumbest shit that mean nothing. It's like dumb noise. Yeah, it's a new offense. Next question. Well, how much? I'm not telling you this. What do you want me to do? Give you my playbook? Well, I mean what? You'll see it come September. It's a new offense? Yeah. Well, how is that affecting? It's the reason why I have training camp. The reason why we have mini camps. The reason why we have OTAs. There's a simple way to answer this, but you don't have the right guy answering the question because he doesn't know how to. He's not qualified to be the head coach because he's not qualified to answer idiots like me. He's not qualified. It's a brand new offense. Jalen's, it's a meshing of the old and new. You know what I would have said to that if I was Nick Sirianni? You know what I would have said? Jalen said it's a brand new offense. Well, I'm sure some of the things that we're seeing in this offense that we're implementing with some of the new stuff, it probably looks brand new to him. Next question. Next question. Well, you know, there's comment Jalen said about your job title. He goes, hey, I question my job title sometimes too. You know, when you're a head coach, you have so many things that you have to do. There's so much responsibility that I have. And I'm really glad that Jalen said that, because you know why? I don't want Jalen to know the responsibilities that I have for this football team. I would have thrown it right back in his fucking face. He would not have any idea what the responsibilities of being an NFL head coach is all about. I respect the kid. And I'm glad that we've made the environment for him like that he doesn't have to worry about what my job is. For the record, I don't want him to worry about my job. I want him to do his job. Next question. Isn't that how a coach should answer? Not being smart, being truthful. This ass-kissing politician that this guy is not helpful. It's not helpful. That's not Sirianni. That's how Fangio would respond. Yeah, Vic was asked the question the other day, JM. Hey, what do you make of your defense? Well, they were not very good last year. That was brilliant. We brought some new coaches in and some new players. We'll see what we have. That's outstanding, because that's all he can say. We brought some new dudes in. We got some new coaches. We'll see what we have. You can't be any more of a really great head coach answer than that right there in a nutshell. Yeah, they weren't very good last year. Okay, they weren't. First coach that's actually told the truth has been Vic Fangio. Yeah, they weren't good last year. Brought some new coaches and new players in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Right? Can't answer like that in Philly. Are you crazy? The internet would broke. What, you don't like the truth? Gatekeeper? Philly, you don't like the truth? Can't answer like that? Why? That's how Buddy answered. Nick doesn't know his job title, those Sills. Prince, he's good at lying. Lie better. Be a better liar. Moore in 21 at Dallas was middle of the pack in usage for no huddle RPO and motion, 21st in using play action. But his success rate, all of those, was top 3. The quarterback has never run more than 40 times in a season. Who's your RPO guy? Your quarterback doesn't. Dak didn't run RPOs. What are you talking about? At no time did Dak get over 40 carries in a season. Your guy approaches 170, 190. What are you talking about? Sills, did you almost die after getting cut? Yes. I was rushed to the hospital. Yes. Dan, you know Sirianni is a rah-rah guy. Remember, Watkins, look, I know. Sills, Hertz is coach's kid. He played for Saban Riley and his dad. Learned under Dougie P. and Steichen. I get all that. Dallas had the number 1 ranked offense after Moore left. Well, Mike McCarthy's a better play caller. Hey, 304. I want to ask you a question now. 304. You are the perfect guy here. Do you understand that today, a month from right now, the Dallas Cowboys will show up to training camp? And 304, you tell me if you're still here, because I need you to answer this, because this is going to tie into Jalen Hurts. You're 30 days out from the start of Dallas Cowboy training camp. Do you believe that Dak Prescott will have a contract in front of him by the start of training camp that will be in excess of $55 million? Do you believe that? JM says no. Kyle says no. I wish I knew the answer. Okay. Well, 304, I'm going to ask you this one. If I'm Dak Prescott, I play my option out. Once the season start, I'm betting on myself. If Kirk Cousins can get $48 million, I'll get 58. Let's just play this for a second. If you were to put Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott on the open market, who'd get more money? And who'd have more suitors? Dak or Jalen? What quarterback fits today's passing game? Dak or Jalen? What offenses are set up for Jalen? Two. He wouldn't have a big market. Dak would have a massive market. You know why? Dak's a passer. Jalen is more set up for RPO. Do you guys say it? Dak Prescott would be a bigger free agent and have more suitors for his style of play because teams are set up for that style of play than they are for Hertz's. How many teams have all the components that Hertz has in the league? 2? Eagles and Niners? Like maybe if he went to where? The Browns? That could look good. By the way, I'm going to be objective here. The Browns? That could look good. Where else? The Rams? That's not his style, Sean McVay. He likes drop back and deep throws. I don't think he fits in LA. Steelers? That could be. Run the ball. Najee? Good O-line. Better improving O-line. All right. DC? With the Dotson kid? And the Terry McLaurin? That could look decent. Okay. The Giants? Absolutely not. Giants have no run game. Giants have no wide receivers. They have nothing. That'd be a train wreck. The Colts? That could look, yeah. But all these places Dak would have, they'd have first option with Dak. You know why? He's a prolific passer. His entire time since he's been the starting quarterback in this league, he's been a prolific passer. Jalen's never been a prolific passer, ever. And nor will he ever be. So who do you think, again, will have a bigger market? Kirk Cousins just got $48 million. $48 million. Could he fit in Miami? Can you imagine Dak? I'd rather have Dak. Dak throws the ball better. Dak's a better passer. Hey, he's a better passer. To be fair, Jalen's 2 worst years were Knicks offense. Hey, Mad Bird. Well, again, it goes back to, you're right. Hertz is a little bit young in the league still. I'm going to go with a veteran guy. Just release Tay Hayes for weed use. A lot going on with the Jets. Yeah, then I guarantee you, what's his name? Hong Kong Phooey Reddick is probably over at the Great Wall of China now. You know, he's fighting back the Russians now or something with his samurai sword. He's probably fighting back over. Yeah, he's probably fighting them. He's fighting the Russians back now. Jay Gosil's opinion is, dog, name me one place ever where he was better passing the ball than Dak. He's never had a season anywhere remotely close to Dak's, ever. He never will. Dak's been in the league way longer than Jalen. Why not compare Dak to Mahomes? I did. As a matter of fact, over the last 50 games, they're very comparable. And I did. He's playing exactly Patrick Mahomes football. Of course, in the regular season, he matches up verbatim for him. I did that exercise, and he matches up straight across the board with Mahomes. Stop it already. Dak had the number one offense and didn't win. So did you. Top 3 defense. So did you. So did you. So did you. Jalen has played in a Super Bowl. So is Jimmy Garoppolo. Dak can't make it out of the playoffs, which is a thing. Hertz can become a great passer, but not with Nick's coaching. Again, I don't know who's coaching him. Kellen, Nick, new offense, no offense. Okay? Hey, and once again, I did that comparison. You know, it's funny. The guy doesn't, some of you guys just don't want to hear it when I bring it up. And when you do go Mahomes versus Dak, I did this when we had when we had on Mark Holmes. Here, let's just go here. Here's just the last 28 games. Passing yards, Patrick Mahomes, 8,035. Dak, 7,242. Touchdowns, Mahomes, 53. Dak, 59. Interceptions, Mahomes, 24. Dak, 23. Completion percentage, Mahomes, 67. Dak, 69. Quarterback rating, 97.1 Mahomes, 101.6 for Dak. Record, 20-8. Both are 20-8. You're making it your hatred. And here's the one on the 50 stats. The last 50 games. Mahomes is 36-14. Dak's 33-17. 105 touchdown passes for Mahomes, 105 for Dak. INTs, 39 for Mahomes, 39 for Dak. Passer rating, 98.9 for Mahomes, 101.3 for Dak. Yards, 7.5 for Patrick Mahomes per play, 7.5 for Dak. Completion percentage, 68.9 versus 68.4. He's playing Mahomes football. What are you talking about? Stop bragging about Hertz playing in the Super Bowl. He didn't win it. Getting there is a big deal. Dude, Dak Prescott compares favorably to Mahomes when it comes to ability. I mean, get this. You know the cool thing about stop bragging about Hertz playing in the Super Bowl. He didn't win it. I get it, Flex, and it's true, but I still give him love for getting there. I think it's a deal, but I think it's not the deal everyone thinks it is. Feels the market would depend on the team. If the team thinks they can use Hertz properly, he would have a stronger market. A team like Miami and Minnesota would pay more for Dak. Their window is closing. It's a good point. You're right. An older team may pay more for Dak because they want to do it now. That could play it. Yeah. That would definitely play into conversation. That would definitely play into a conversation like that. It's not how much you compile statistics. It's when you do it. Again, I'm not saying the Cowboys have not shit all over themselves in the postseason. They have. Kellen Moore was part of that too, though. They had the number one offense, you guys were telling me, in Dallas. They shit the bed in the postseason. Mahomes definitely has an edge with his running and his coaching. Andy Reid versus Mike McCarthy. Mike's not a bad play caller, but where Andy has him is postseason failure experience. Andy Reid's not where he is right now just because of Mahomes. He's there because of the colossal failures he had in Philly. You know what I see with Andy Reid now as a better play caller? He gambles more. And he's not afraid. His 2-minute drills going in the half and going at the end of ball games were colossal nightmares. And it's benefited Mahomes. And he gives him more freedom. I actually think, and I'm not a fan of McNabb, I think he put more guardrails on McNabb. He coaches that guy way different than anything he coached. And that guy plays looser football in Kansas City than McNabb did. McNabb is a borderline Pro Football Hall of Famer. As much as that kills me to say, he's a borderline pro. Hey, is he better than Dak Prescott, McNabb? Yeah. Is he better than Romo? Yeah. Would you take him more than Bledsoe? Yeah. Yeah. You couldn't name but the elite guys. How about this one? Would you take McNabb or would you take Phillip Rivers? Damn. And I like Phillip Rivers. And I can't stand McNabb. Still, who would you take, Rivers or McNabb? Gonna bite my tongue off. I'd probably take McNabb. You can't find too many quarterbacks better than that guy. Okay? You can't. But he's a better coach with that kid. Kid's changing plays in the fifth quarter at the Super Bowl. I'd take Phillip Rivers, and he couldn't get out of the AFC Championship game. Nor could he get to only one. Okay, JM. Wait a minute, JM. So you're going to take Rivers over McNabb. Look at JM and how much of a hypocrite the guy is. So you would take a guy who's never been to a Super Bowl, but yet when I talk to you about a guy who's better like Dak than Jalen Hurts, he's been to a Super Bowl. It matters for him though, right? Dude, can't have it both ways. You got to have a metric that you're fair with everyone with. Either it matters or it doesn't. Okay? Either it matters or it doesn't. The 1 year McNabb did have a weapon. He got to the Super Bowl. Yeah, if the Eagles had done a better job and Reed believed in wide receivers. Okay? Imagine that. Andy's still doing the same shit. Sticking with tight ends, running game, and marginal wideouts. Yeah, you're consistent, all right. Okay, I see. McNabb gets to a Super Bowl. You take Rivers over a guy who's never been to one. When I say Dak's a better ball player as a quarterback throwing the football than Jalen, that's because he went to a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's consistent. You sound it. You missed the fact that Dak had the same opportunities as Jalen did and didn't take his team to the Super Bowl. Getting to a Super Bowl isn't easy. Dude, I told you this, though, Prince. You're overvaluing that metric. I can name you a ton of bums that got there. Is Jake Delhomme really great? Rex Grossman great? Really? I mean, a substitute teacher won you the Super Bowl. Boy, I'd like to have had that Brock Bowers kid. That'd have been something else. Sills, I will say that the NFC, when McNabb played, was much weaker than the AFC during Rivers' time. That's a fair comment. Rivers had both Manning and TB12 in the way. It's a fair comment. It's like playing during the era of Tiger Woods. If you're Phil Mickelson, it's a true comment. It is. Again, remember something. To be fair, though, right, Bob? Lamar Jackson getting beat by Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game versus Baker Mayfield for Hertz in a wild card game. You would put more weight on what happened with Lamar losing to a spectacular football team than you would losing to the Bucs, would you not? Would you not? Okay. Good. You're somebody that can be reasoned with. We can't call Jalen a bum. I didn't call Jalen a bum. If he develops his weaknesses, he will get to and possibly win multiple Super Bowls, not with this style of play. And by the way, Sam, how can you develop a quarterback when you're constantly changing in and out coordinators? How do you develop continuity? Where are you getting that continuity from? Where exactly are you getting that from? The Philadelphia Eagles are consistent at one thing. They are consistent at not being consistent with coaching. Okay? Take Herbert 100 times over Wishbone. Oh, absolutely. Justin Herbert's skill set is insane. Now, here's the thing, though. Justin Herbert has no excuses either. He has absolutely no excuses when it comes to not moving the goalposts now, because you have Jim Harbaugh. Plus, Harbaugh's not going to tolerate that. You know, it would not shock me if Jim Harbaugh, if he ended up trading for somebody, if Justin Herbert doesn't deliver. Okay? Do you agree? Bring Kellen in, forcing Jalen to develop a weakness we know he has. Dude, I'm going to try to do everything I can to develop what he does great. Not sit around all offseason where I don't get a lot of practice time as it is. You know, like I said, I heard John McMullen saying that. Well, you know, they're practicing shit that they don't and haven't practiced before. Dude, they weren't good at anything last year. They weren't good at anything offensively. Once you practice first, the shit you do good. And then slide in the new stuff. Hey, how many people are sitting there in Kansas City right now practicing a brand new offense? You think they're practicing a brand new offense, or they're adding things to the offense that Mahomes loves? Here, and let me ask you this. I heard those guys on Birds 365 saying this too. Are they adding things that Kellen Moore likes? Or are they adding things that Jalen likes? And what does Jalen like, actually? What's Jalen Hurts' favorite play? Tush push? What's his favorite play? What would be the play that you would go as his signature play? I'll tell you what, man. The one thing that you have with Mahomes is you don't know what that play is. You know what Brady's was? Check down Charlie, baby. Check down Charlie. It blows my mind how your owner and your general manager refused to win Super Bowls like Tom Brady did. Hey, great. You got yourselves one. But you'll never, ever in a million years resemble what New England did. Because it matters, the optics in everything you do. From the coach looking bad in public to being so petty that you don't allow your organization to reach their total potential. That's what this comes. I was talking to Coach Johnson about this. I said, Coach, when you were coaching your coaches in Dallas, did you have any input at all in the play calling? No. Now, I handled the timeouts. You want to hear this? I go, Jimmy, did you have any? Because I know the answers. I go, Coach Johnson, did you have any input into play calling? He goes, no. Norv did all that. Norv Turner did all that. Okay. Did you have any input in the defense? He goes, no. I handled the timeouts. I handled some substitutions, but I had no job really on Sundays. Coach goes up. My job with coaching was Monday through Saturday. Because come Monday, you know what he would do? The team fucking sucked. Hey, Butch, we gave up 35 points. What happened? Butch would go, we gave up in the secondary. He goes, do we have the right personnel back there? This is on you. Yeah, you know, and Jimmy would go, well, this guy struggled the last 3 weeks. He's not going to get it done. We're going to move him, somebody in there, Butch. He'd go over to Tony Wise. Hey, Sebnoski's getting beat on his inside. You can see it on the film here. He still needs work. Tony Wise, do you think he'll get there? I do, Coach. Turn out to be a Pro Bowler. And Jimmy would go like this. I agree with you. I think he'll get there. That's how he coached. He's sitting there, and then get this. Come Sunday again, he'd sit on the sidelines. And you know what he had? He'd flick on the offense and listen to the offensive play calling. Then he would flick over to the defense, and he would listen to the defense. And he'd go back and forth. Never with any influence whatsoever on a Sunday game. He never called one play, ever. I'll give you guys a super story. We're playing the University of Louisville, and we're trying to run the clock out. Coach Johnson goes like this, run a goddamn halfback option pass. And Tony Weiss, the offensive line coach, who was in Dallas with him, looked over at him and goes, Coach, we don't have that play. He goes, well, run something. Run something. That's a head coach. Holds players and coaches accountable. Jimmy's strengths were not play calling. His strength was kicking your ass. Getting it done or you're not. By the way, there's no hollering. You're either doing it or not. You know the great thing about why it was so great? Because Jimmy drafted you and he released you. He didn't have an ego when it came to, well, this guy was drafted in the 3rd round. He didn't care. It was his call. Jimmy wasn't trying to win the draft. He was trying to win ball games. He was trying to win ball games. Jimmy Johnson's the reason I became a Cowboy fan, 1989 and counting. Hey, Ultra fan, Jameson, 2022 Hertz or 2024 McNabb. They lost Super Bowls. 2024 McNabb was outstanding. 2022 Hertz was good. You could flip a coin on that one. You can. Hey, Ultra Cowboy, I'll tell you a quick story before Xander comes on. So they're on their famous run. They hadn't won a game in 89. Just hadn't won a game. Dave Wannstedt goes, hey, Jimmy, everyone's running to 34, I mean. Don't you think we should try thinking about implementing a 34? And Jimmy's like this, no, we're going to do this my way, Dave, or we're not going to do it. You're either with me or you're not. He goes, oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. He goes, we're doing it this way. 2 years later, Dallas Cowboys had the #1 defense in the National Football League. No, we're going to do it this way. We're not going to deviate off this shit. We're not deviating. People with conviction. Seals, Herbert is in the same position as Rivers. It's a great comparison. It absolutely is true. It's absolutely true. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, absolutely true. But you know what, though? To the point, though, hey, Ben Roethlisberger pushed through twice. Did he not? Hey, Ben Roethlisberger, he pushed through twice, did he not? Actually, if you think about it, Ben Roethlisberger had a better career in Pittsburgh than Peyton Manning had in Indianapolis. How many people would say that's true? How many people would say that Ben Roethlisberger had a better career in Pittsburgh than Peyton did in Indianapolis? No, I don't count the Seattle Super Bowl. Sorry. What's Seattle Super Bowl? Oh, you don't count that? He won it. Okay. No, Peyton was better. I didn't say he was better. I asked you who had a better career. Pittsburgh, Roethlisberger won 2. He's got 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has 1 in Indy. Never had a losing season in 17 years and won 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning had a better career? Oh, I see. So multiple Super Bowls don't count versus Manning and his 1 who he underachieved in Indianapolis. They underachieved. Well, he had Manning. Well, Ben won 2. Ben won 2. Seals, Big Ben pushed through because Pittsburgh always kept the D as a priority, even when Ben was spinning it. Well, that's because, Bob, they've only hired 3 coaches since 1969. They know what they're doing in coaching and player development and patience, where most organizations don't, like you guys. Name me the last defensive football player you've developed over the last, or for a 5 or 6 year span. Let's see. Brandon Graham. Josh Sweat? Yeah. On the current defense right now, name me one Eagle you've developed. Peyton Denver, defense carried him. I'm talking more Indianapolis. TJ Edwards was on the team 2 years. Is there anybody that you've had that's on this roster right now that you've developed over the last 5 years? And he's been like, you've developed him. Is there anybody on the team right now that's been on the team 5 years that you've developed? Anybody? Sweat? Anybody on that defense that you've developed that's been on the team 5 or more years? You didn't develop Hardgrave. He was a Steeler. A lot of plays offense. Williams has been on the team 5 years. Milton Williams has been on the team 5 years. All right. So Milton Williams, Josh Sweat. Who else? Brandon Graham? Yep. He counts. You got 3. Who else? This is his 5th year. I'll count that. You think Avonte Maddox has been developed? We're going there. Pittsburgh develops their defense because they invest in it. And it's not just about money. Well, it is now this year. They spent $18 million on Patrick Queen. And it's very un-Steeler-like. But the Steelers are starting to move into being a little bit more into the now because they know free agency can help clog some holes. I think Pittsburgh's going to have a really good year. They got a murder schedule, and they're in a murder division, that AFC North. Without a doubt, that thing is that's a murder division they're going to be in. Why did TJ Edwards leave? Because they didn't want to pay him. I love how people go, he wanted to go home. No, you don't. It's always the dumbest comments on the planet. TJ wanted to go home because he played at Wisconsin or some shit. Bro, you give me $8 million and you keep me on a team that's going to compete for the Super Bowl, I'm staying. Stop doing stupid shit so that it gives you an off-ramp on why the player wanted to go and you couldn't keep him and why Howie couldn't keep him. The only reason that you couldn't keep TJ is because Howie didn't want him. It's the only reason. Stop making excuses for people. He didn't want him. He doesn't value the position at all. That's why every linebacker that you'll have starting inside and even one outside, do you know all your linebackers across the row except for one you drafted? Come on, man. Seals, do you think Milton has a better year than, I'm assuming that's Jordan Davis? He did last year. I thought he was a better player last year than Jordan Davis. I mean, both your corners you didn't develop, and 3 of your 4 linebackers on your second level are not yours. But we got all an upgrade. Okay. Seals, do we pick up or trade for an edge rusher? Kyle, I think this is one of the things he does well, the GM. I think Mr. Gator does a nice job at going and finding veteran guys that can help your team. Dude, that Robert Quinn thing, if you've never heard me kill him over that, you know why? He's taking swings. I'm okay with guys taking swings like that. You know? Yeah, wait a minute. I'm getting your report here. Hang on. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's the new report. You ready for this one? It looks like now we're going to have, hang on here. We're going to have Samurai Reddick. He's going to fight Rodzilla in the new epic film coming out. He's going to be fighting Rodzilla. Hassan Reddick versus Rodzilla. I got to give Howie some love on this one, baby. He got rid of that guy, man. And he went like this. Arigato, konnichiwa. With that being said, the co-host of Birds 365, it is our friend Xander Krause. He joins us now. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother? How's everybody in the chat doing? What's going on?
Oh, good, man. Hey, listen, I heard John say that stuff this morning about practice, man. Practice creates habits, man, and it creates an attitude, and it creates, especially on defense. I get that they were trying to they were trying some new stuff, but I want to take it one thing further. What you said also, you went like this. Well, Jeremy Fowler tweeted out. Jeremy Fowler wasn't at practice. How would he know? Someone in the Eagle organization told them. I mean, so get this. And Xander, is it a thing to me? I'm going to do you here for the – watch this. I'm going to do a Xander. I don't really give a shit. It's like a nothing thing here. But why is it so important for them? Okay, so hey, it's a meshing of the new and old. That's kind of what Nick said. And then Howard came out last week and said, hey, it's more 20%. And it was like, I heard John go, well, it was maybe 95%. It has something to do with terminology. Okay, why can't they just answer a question? Is it a new offense or not?
Yeah, they don't want to answer it. And I'm with you on the Fowler thing. It sounded like it came right from the Eagles organization where, they're trying to quiet some of the noise that's going on, which, I'm not going to knock them for. I guess if they got 7-week or 5-week, 4-week period now for just 4 weeks left. But Jalen set off he set off the alarms on the way out the door, and now Fowler's running cover for him because that's what the Eagles do. They don't give anything to the local media. They do normally give it to the national guys. But what are you going to do? It's a nothing burger at this point because I can't analyze what Jalen said anymore other than the fact that it seems there are some problems present. We'll see if they have an impact on the season or not. I think they're going to. I think it's hard to say they wouldn't, but what are you going to do?
What is your biggest concern with Kellen Moore and Jalen as you get ready for training camp?
My biggest concern with Kellen Moore is that he's not going to use the guy he has in the room. I don't want to see you pull Jalen Hurts out of being Jalen Hurts. My biggest concern from the Jalen Hurts side of it is, are you going to be able to grasp and do everything that Kellen Moore is asking you to do? And if you are, how quickly? I don't think that's a knock on him either. I think it takes anybody time to get used to a new system. And if this system is as new as he said it is, are we talking about week 8, week 12? Are we talking about year 2? Or are we coming out of the gate swinging? So that's my concern with both of them. But you know what, Dan? I honestly feel good. The truth about how I feel is I actually feel good. I actually think Kellen Moore is going to be a good offensive coordinator for this team. That doesn't mean the team is going to have as much success as we're all hoping they have. But I think Kellen Moore is going to do a good job at making an offense that works, that looks better, that incorporates the middle of the field, that isn't afraid to run Saquon Barkley the way he should be run. Now we'll see what it looks like, but I feel pretty good. I feel better about the offense than I think most are. I'm concerned about the Sirianni element and the relationship there and what that looks like. But I go back to the list you created a couple weeks ago of things the Eagles need to do to get back to the Super Bowl. One of the biggest ones on that list was Nick Sirianni needs to stay out of the way. If he does that, I think this can be a pretty good offense. I mean, you got Saquon, you got AJ, you got Jalen, you got Devontae Smith, you got Goddard, you got an offensive line. If Kellen Moore is half competent and Jalen Hurts just gets rid of the turnovers, shit, man, we're looking at a good offense. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how long it takes to click. That's probably my biggest worry is how long will this thing take? Is it 8 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? It might be year 2 where we're talking about we're not really clicking on all cylinders until year 2, similar to how it was with Shane Steichen. But we'll see. I mean, I think there are fair concerns there. But
we have a super chat here. If you could put that up here. I think he was talking 3. Does that mean is that Nolan Smith or is that what's his name?
3. He's talking about Nolan Smith. Yeah. So in 2 years, Huff or Nolan.
Oh, I got Huff.
I have Huff being better. I think the organization would benefit more from Nolan Smith being better, but that's not what he's asking. Yeah.
How about this?
I think Huff is going to be a good player. We just don't know. He was good when he played, but he played in a small sample size and he played on a great defense
in a limited role.
And nobody had to worry about Huff last year. So this year he's going to be the guy, and people are going to gain defense. Offenses are going to be game planning for him more. So we'll see what he can do. But I think Huff is the answer to that one.
Let's do a human nature thing here when it comes to Sirianni and Moore. How about this dynamic in the room? How much of a factor do you think this becomes? Well, one guy's trying to become a head coach. One guy's trying to save his job. All of a sudden, some adversity starts to hit. I can promise you, and I'll throw this at you here. If that thing was going south last year and Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator, would Nick have fired him?
If who was the offense? If Kellen
Moore was in the seat that Brian Johnson was,
Well, I think it would have looked a whole lot different. But you're saying if the results were the same?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think there would be bigger concern, honestly, because he's a more established coordinator. Like, remember, before last season, before we even knew what the offense was going to look like, one of your biggest knocks, and you weren't the only one, everybody's was, why did you're driving a Ferrari and you hired a novice driver? Why would you do that? You got to hire. So if Kellen Moore came in though and looked like that with that type of talent, I think maybe you could argue they would have blew the whole thing up.
The whole thing up. Oh,
Yeah.
So if they would have had, maybe the reason that Nick kept his job is because it was the miscalculation on the relationship with Jalen. You think they took more of that into consideration, the relationship with Brian Johnson and Jalen, and put that more in the forefront than actually his credibility at being a play caller?
Maybe. I hope not.
Because that has to be the only reason he got the job.
The other side of it is how it went up in flames. Has it come back to bite them? Like is part of Jalen's reluctance to endorse his coaching staff right now because he feels like they scapegoated Brian Johnson, who really is a friend to him, who's not just a coach, who wasn't just an offensive coordinator. He's somebody who's been a part of his life for, it sounds like, since he was a child. Yep. Is there some resentment there? I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's plausible. I mean, you would think they would have these conversations with the guy they're paying $55 million a year to, but the way the Eagles operate, you could argue that they didn't, right? I mean, they care about power. They might not care what Jalen says, but geez, if they did that, I mean, why pay that type of money to an offense just to slot in somebody's friend?
This is going to be,
I don't know. Cause I don't want to I mean, I wasn't on the air back at that point, but I wasn't that upset with the hiring of Brian Johnson. I thought it made sense. He was a quarterback's coach. The offense took a seismic leap. Jalen Hurts took a leap that nobody expected coming, had an MVP year, and he was the guy left in the building after Steichen left. I was like, all right, yeah, that's a good move. I mean, he's the guy who can keep this thing going on the same train track. It didn't work out. Now everybody's wondering, was it Brian Johnson's fault? Was it Sirianni? I think Nick is maybe a little upset how they handled Brian Johnson, which is why you probably shouldn't have made a decision like that in the first place if that was a factor.
The camp number one priority will be what you think with the coaching staffs. What's the one thing you think is the number one priority going into training camp? We're 30 days out, dude. And by the way, just to expand on it too, Bradberry's not being cut. He is not being cut. The only time and the quickest time I would think that he would be released would be maybe after a controlled scrimmage or after an exhibition game that they played maybe after 2. But, bro, the way I'm looking at it, the more and more he is on this team going into camp, why are they hedging their bets here? You and I said this last week. The roster spot and playing younger guys, to me, is more valuable than playing a guy I already know. And like you said, because I drop a guy at the safety position or in the slot 3 practices and I sit him there with a helmet and a water bottle, you think that's going to entice a general manager to want to make it? That's not going to do that. Just give me your priorities and also the Bradberry factor going into camp.
My priorities are all offensive for camp.
Wow.
Yeah, they're
all
nothing
defensively.
Well, I'm not as concerned defensively because I think with the way the roster is built, we know the defense isn't going to be a top 5 defense. We need them to be top 15, like we talked about, or top 18. And I don't think we're going to get anything from camp. Honestly, I think we took too much of what we heard from the spring. And it's I'm guilty of it too. I've been talking about Isaiah Rodgers and Ringo. Let's see these guys play. So I think that's a wait and see thing, right? Like, we're not going to know what this defense looks like until they're out there. With the offense, I think we can gather how on the same page are they? How much is Jalen comprehending from the new offense? How does everybody look? Do they look like they're having communication issues? I think communication is going to be one of the biggest things in this season, like it is in any realm of life. I mean, you know what I mean? You need to have communication with somebody to be on the same page. And that's going to be my biggest thing going into the camp. How cohesive is the offensive side of the ball? And that includes Sirianni, right? Has he completely removed himself from this whole offensive side?
Can you be a good team, though, Xander? Can you be a good team, though, going into a season with still those going into training camp, those questions? I mean, all the good teams around the league don't have those question marks.
Well, I mean, every team's got their list of questions. I mean, the Eagles were...
Yeah, but communication in Detroit or in Kansas City or in San Francisco is not one of them.
Yeah, well, they're in a situation where we were going into last season or 2 years ago, where we had the same coordinators coming into the year. You know, there wasn't that many questions like this going into the 22 season.
Oh, so this is going to be a continual thing because the Eagles change coordinators so much.
If they continue to change coordinators, absolutely. I mean, you know, on one hand, you say Jalen can't keep complaining, because if you're good and you have a CEO head coach, your coordinators are going to continue to get hired away.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and if you're bad, they're going to get fired.
Right. And if you're bad, they're going to get fired. And if you're in the middle, nobody wants to be in the middle. You know, what do you want to be? The Dallas Cowboys, where you lose in the first round every year? You know, so on one hand, I don't want to complain about it. I don't want him to complain about it. But on the other hand, I get it. You know, I mean, how do you go into a year where you have Super Bowl expectations and it's going to take you 10 weeks to get it figured out? I mean, the Chiefs did it last year, so it's not like you can't do it. The Chiefs didn't look good earlier in the year last year, you know?
True.
They lost to us.
Got beat by the Raiders in Kansas City.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we beat the Chiefs last year. So to that point, you can do it, but we'll see.
You know, that's funny you say that. How could you look so good in the middle of the year last year? I still can't answer this one. How do you go from 10-2 to a team that looked like they were a 4-win team 3 years ago? What? And you have more talent. Xander, that one question for me, you're 10-2. You beat all those string of great players and coaches, coordinators. You beat Belichick up in New England on the opener. That was awesome. You could beat the guy, Leslie Frazier in Minnesota. I'm thinking to myself, how do you go through all that? And then you can't beat Drew Lock. I mean, to me, that's a mental thing and a locker room thing. And that's why when I hear the noise.
That's bigger than football and talent. Yeah.
That's right. But to me, I don't think you can just change that out with coaches and players. I think that's got to be changed out from the head guy himself. Wow. Like, he's got to make that happen. It's his room.
You mean Nick Sirianni? Or you mean Jalen?
Yeah, Hurts? It's his room, isn't it?
Well, yeah. On offense, you know what, Dan? On offense, I want it to be Jalen Hurts' room. I don't want it to be a coordinator's room. When you even with a guy like Andy Reid in Kansas City, who's that offense? That offense is Patrick Mahomes. Who called the shots on offense for New England when Tom Brady? Tom Brady. I want it to be Jalen's offense. I want it to be his room. So if you're the commander of the room, it's on you. And I'm good with that. I'd rather live and die on that hill, you know, with your quarterback, the guy you paid a big bag to, you know, own it, especially if you're going to have a revolving door at the coordinator, or else you're going to get into the same problems over and over and over again. So
304, it's like, hey, man, Xander, just so you know, the Eagles have finished behind Dallas 3 of the 4 years there.
The guy, how many regular season trophies can the Dallas Cowboys collect? I mean,
60.
Seriously. I mean, come on, 304.
Hey, 304 is my come on, man. He's got you there, dog. I mean, you guys win every offseason.
304
There's no question. You guys are the king of the off seasons.
Yeah, 304 is
all right.
Guys
but I will. Then I'm going to go here. Play with me here. It's 30 days to the Dallas Cowboys go to training camp today. By the way, I've confirmed it. We're going to be doing some shows over at the Cowboy training camp. So we're going to be there. And the Rams. I think we're going to do Rams and Cowboys. We're going to be over there talking. So I'm sure we'll probably try to do that on a Wednesday too. So for the guys, when we do the show, Hey, how about Mark Holmes giving us some love with Michael Irvin?
Yeah,
see that?
Cool. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. Good stuff from Mark.
So 30 days out, do you think Dak Prescott gets a contract from Dallas before the start of training camp?
I think he should. I mean, I'm not even saying that as an Eagle fan. I'm saying that
if that were me, I wouldn't want one.
If you're Dak, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. That's a big risk you're talking about. I know.
If Kirk Cousins could get $48 million, I'll get 58.
Coming off an injury. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to speak objectively, not as an Eagle fan, right? I'm going to speak objectively. If you're Dallas, how do you not bring back Dak Prescott? What are you going to do? What is your option to move off of Prescott if you're not willing to give him the money? What is it?
Tanking.
You're tanking. You're choosing oblivion. You're choosing the Sixers process, which has resulted in absolutely nothing but dread.
You're tanking.
So that's where I'm like, look, just back to my Eagle fan. I'm not the biggest Dak Prescott guy, but he's a competent quarterback. I mean, he can throw the ball. He can do what you need to do. If I was a Dallas fan, would I be upset with some of the playoff, inconsistencies and lack of showing up and stuff? Sure, I would. But life on the other side isn't good. You have a quarterback that is competent and can win ball games. And I think he's a top 8 quarterback in the NFL, maybe higher. When Dak plays well, many Eagle fans won't say this. When Dak plays well, he's a damn good quarterback. He can throw that ball all over the yard. Now, when he doesn't show up, it's ugly, it's turnovers, and it's costing games. But, it's a team game. It doesn't all come down to Dak Prescott. If they don't sign him, what are they going to do? And that's what I'll continue to say. And Dallas should get a deal done. Now, the way they do business is just pitiful. I mean, why? Why do you not pay the guy until the last minute? And now you're going to have to give him more money than you. If you signed him a year ago, it was 52. You're going to be up to 60 million. And the cap hits are going to be brutal.
Yep.
Let's go to our super chats here.
Let's go to Bob Brown here. Sills, boardroom battles are won by settling the narrative before you enter the room. Howie and Jeff are boardroom guys. The Fowler leak helps Howie and Jeff set the narrative if things go wrong. That's totally my point. Why? But here, I'm going to pull a Xander Krause on this. Why? What the fuck is the big deal about it? It's such a petty thing. I mean, that stuff is when Xander was bringing that up, shit was petty. I'm like this. Why would they give a shit that it was like covering for Nick again? That they don't want. Boy, I'll tell you what. I've never seen a play-by-play or a sideline reporter, a national NFL scout, or not scout, but a national NFL reporter. I've never seen anybody else come out and say, no, it's not a new offense. Everyone has disputed it, what Jalen said, and they want everyone to know that Jalen's comments were not truthful. Why? Why wouldn't you just let that die, Xander, and let that die in the ether?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no answers to the questions you're asking. They're all valid points, but at this point, Dan, I'm ready for the news cycle to pick back up with this team. I'm sure there's going to be more that comes out about it all, to be honest. I mean,
they better win.
Who, the Eagles?
Right, early, because this stuff will come out quicker.
That's my worry, because even if these problems didn't exist, I don't think this team would be winning early. Now, don't over exaggerate. I'm a guy that picked them to win 13 games this year. I think if they play like they should play, they're a 13-win team this year. If they don't play like they should play, there's not a chance in hell they win 13 games. But I think the beginning of the season is going to be a little bit tough. I mean, I don't know. They have the Packers, they got the Falcons, they got the Saints, and they got the Bucks in the first 4.
Look at the quarterbacks they're playing. Okay, more so
than anything.
Even
more. Wait. You said quarterbacks. Look at the defensive coaches they're playing.
Got Schwartz in there.
Green Bay's a non-factor defensively. I'm talking about Atlanta. You have Raheem, right? Isn't he the coach?
Yep,
he's a good defender.
Yep, Raheem.
Third, you got Saints. You got Dennis Allen. And fourth, you got Foles, who has, by the way, a good pass with locking down the Jalen Hurts offense. He got 2 playoff wins on him, over him, and in a big way in both of them. So
that's a great point. He's 2-1 against Jalen Hurts in the last 3 games.
Yeah. And the game that Hertz won was, early in the year last year before the Bucs really found their stride, and they were a crappy team, and the 2 wins were playoff games
at home. But still, that's a really great point. All right, the one player that you're looking to see a breakout year this year? The one player, not Hertz. One guy.
This is a good one. I want to say Jalen Carter, but I think it's expected with him. Honestly, I think he's that good. I don't think I don't want to say I want him to be my breakout candidate because I think that's inevitable. I think it's inevitable. If you're talking about a guy that needs to step up, the guy that needs to rise from the ashes in a way, if you will, I'd like one of the young corners. And I don't care if it's not one of the first round guys, one of the guys we took this year. If Keely Ringo steps up in a huge way, I think you secure that position for the long term, not a 1 year gap. I'm talking about a long-term fix. That's my problem with saying like Devin White, because I'd like to see Devin White have a break, or even Nakobe Dean. Like, how long are they going to be here if they break out? Devin White, if he has a breakout year, he's gone after the year because the Eagles aren't going to meet the contract demands and the
There's
market.
going to be too many offers.
Right, exactly. And they're not going to, they wouldn't even pay TJ Edwards $7 million. I mean, they're not going to pay Devin White whatever he wants to make. Nakobe Dean would be a good one, a good breakout candidate, though. I could see them paying him because Howie would be able to toot his horn at that, you know?
For me,
Nolan's a good one. JM says Nolan. I don't know. JM, here's the problem. I think Nolan's going to have a better year, but is he going to get the reps needed to have a breakout year? You have Huff and you have Sweat still. You have BG. You know, is he going to get the playing time needed to have that breakout year? We'll see.
Fucking play him.
Yeah.
I drafted him 31. Play him. I don't want to. I want. Hey, I'm not saving this. Play him. If he sucks, he sucks. Let it lie. I have more respect for coaches and organizations that find out their failures quicker than sitting and saving a Rager. Play his ass.
I'm with you. I'm
okay. Here's my guy.
You.
I think this guy could be the steal. And to me, I want to see this Isaiah Rodgers guy. I want to see him because you know what they were saying? This guy, Brian Baker, who was a defensive coordinator who I played with at Maryland, was the D coordinator in Indy. He goes like this. If you're looking for this guy to knock chin straps off, he ain't your guy. But if you're looking for a guy who can get completely beat on a play, and make up because he's smart, knows angles, he's your guy. He goes, Dan, that kid, if he gets enough reps, is going to be, and I go, who do you compare him to? You know who he said? Diggs in Dallas. You're not high on him, huh?
No, I'm very high on him, but I'm concerned because I don't see the
Diggs doesn't knock people out.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that at all. First off, I am not a fan of that. Like, there's nothing I hate more than when Slay just looks like a cyst pot when he has to tackle somebody in the open field. I hate that for my cornerbacks. And Keely Ringo is a much more physical corner, so I think fans are going to like him for that reason alone. But let's just say Isaiah Rodgers does have a breakout year this year. What's his role on this team in the future, long term?
Oh, he's my starting corner.
Yeah, but you have Ringo, who's a fourth round pick. Eagles love their draft picks. Remember, we can't live in fantasy land. They love their draft picks. You got DeJean, you got Quinyon Mitchell. You know, that's three right there. That's three young corners right there. Are you going to pay all four of these guys? Remember, Isaiah Rodgers is on a contract year.
Yeah, no doubt. If that guy has a year that I think he's going to have,
okay, so who starts next year?
Howie will not bring him back. You know why?
Who starts then next year?
It'll cost him $16 million.
That's what I'm saying. So if he has a breakout year, I just don't know where the Eagles are going to go with him in the future. That's why we brought up on Birds 365. People ripped us for it, but if they have another great camp or training camp and everybody's talking about him like they were in the spring, they could maybe move him. Remember, they signed him on the scrap heap for $1 million and sat him for a year because of the suspension. Can you make a quick flip on that and go and get a third or fourth round pick for him?
You think they'd package Isaiah and Bradberry up to send
maybe
somewhere?
I'm not saying I want them to do it. I'm just saying if he plays that good,
I'd hate that guy to go somewhere and be a stud.
Yeah, but where's Quinyon going to play? if Keely Ringo is looking as good as he's looking, and Isaiah Rodgers is your replacement for Darius Slay next year, you think they're going to put a first-round draft pick in as a backup just to pay Isaiah Rodgers? I don't see it. That's my problem. They're going to value all three of the other guys more than they value Isaiah, just naturally, just from the business.
Your value. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's a frustrating conversation because here we go again. You're valuing where they were picked instead of who's good.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
That sucks.
I think it's the Eagles' way, though, Dan. Right? I mean, doesn't it make sense to you what I'm saying? Like, where does he fit in? You have three young corners that you're trying to get on the field.
You know what I tell you all the time? Hey, Xander, if you pay him, okay, you're playing him. And I'm sitting there telling you, I'm playing the best fucking guy I can. And that ain't the case in the pros.
Ain't the case. It's not.
It don't work that way
in the NFL. Now, what I would love, here's what I would love. This would be my ideal scenario. Rodgers is your long-term slot guy. 3 years, you know. Then
what are you doing with Gardner Johnson? You jettisoning him?
Well, he's a safety. You're going to get 2 years out of him. Right, they'll probably move on. They'll probably draft a guy, or I don't see him as a super long-term kind of guy. Look, that's a position that they'll move in and out as they have done. By
the way, I can't believe they gave him $8 million. But go ahead.
I couldn't either because no other team was. No, there wasn't even another team that was willing to give him a multi-year deal.
They were paying him $800,000 a year previous.
Yeah. So. But if if you, even in my dream scenario, then where does DeJean go? Because you have Ringo and Mitchell on the outside. You have Rodgers in the slot. John has continuously told me, Cooper DeJean is very versatile, but the Eagles scouted him as an outside cornerback. And their dream would be for him to be an outside cornerback in the league.
I think
he has the skill set. I think you're underestimating his skill set. I just don't know if they have the roster set up for it.
I do not. I don't see it. I watched him at Iowa, and I'll say it one more time to you. Iowa, okay. But here's the thing that brings me back to center with your take. Sills, there's always injuries at the corner every year.
That's true. That's why the depth is a nice thing, right?
That's why Bradberry's still on the team. Also one of the reasons. But to your point, Xander, okay, Sills, you're saying that you don't think he can play on the numbers in the NFL as a consistent corner. But what kind of athlete, as you were saying, dude, he's one of those like Paul Bunyan type guys where every sport he did, he was some sort of like legendary basketball player. He averaged 28 points. It wasn't like he got drafted in baseball, I think, too. He's like one of these psychotic guys. So he is an athlete. And maybe I'm looking at him through my white colored glasses too. I don't know. Maybe could that be part of the whole thing too, that I'm not seeing that there. But see, to me, I do see a really good athlete. But is that guy going to play? So who do you have more question marks for then? DeJean or Quentin Williams?
Real quick, I want to tell, before I answer that, I will answer that. I want to tell Steve Kaufman, he says, tired of paying money, not getting this topic discussed. Steve, I'm going to go back to both your super chats. I see them both. We will get them up in a second after this topic. Sorry about that, brother. We'll get you. No worries. No worries. Thanks for the reminder. We'll go.
Hey, I like you, brother. Way to go. Hey, fuck you guys. You see what I just did? Hey, always remember, talk to us like that. You get your way like that. Go ahead, Xander.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Steve. I'll get to you, brother. I have more questions on DeJean because I don't know where they're going to use him. Like what? I don't
go in a second.
What's that?
What and everyone had a first round grade at him. Why did he slide in the second?
Yeah, I don't have that much concern about that. What am I going to do? Sit here and indict the guy's career because he slipped 10 picks in the draft? I don't care. I don't care about that. I think if the guy can play, the guy can play. But my questions are not as much about the player as they are about where he's going to fit on this football team. I mean, in a way, it's a great problem to have because you got a bunch of corners that you're like, hey, we got a lot of guys that can play. What should we do with them all? And that's why I think a trade wouldn't be ruled out, but they're certainly not trading DeJean. They're certainly not trading Quinyon, and they're most likely not trading Keely Ringo. So,
or Slay.
I like the idea of 4. I mean, I guess it could work with all 4 of them because you have some time until you pay Quinyon or pay Cooper. So maybe if you go 2 years with Isaiah Rodgers, keep him as a depth rotational piece, slot guy, outside guy. You get Keeley and you get
And
Quinion
Williams, you
on
have
the
the fifth-year
field.
option too.
Yeah, but they don't love to use that, man. They didn't use it on Devontae. They didn't, they don't love, if they don't have to use that, they're probably going to pay their guy. Eagles aren't that type of organization. They're not like the Cowboys where they use out all that stuff. So we'll see what they end up doing on that in terms of those two. In hindsight, should they have even drafted another cornerback? Right? I mean, remember that linebacker was sitting there that everybody wanted. The guy from Texas A&M.
The kid went to Green Bay.
Yeah. The Texas A&M guy. I can't think.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name. But
Edgerrin Cooper.
Steven real quick. Let's go to first.
Edgerrin Cooper. Even the kid from Mency State. Even the kid from Mency State was up there too.
Yeah, I'm happy with Cooper DeJean. I'm just saying, if you're going to force to trade away one of these guys, you maybe could have gotten a guy in the draft.
They clearly were drafted. They clearly drafted this year's draft to replace both their corners.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Steve said, if I was Dak, I'm heading to the Saints or Vikings. I think the Vikings would be a great spot for him. How many yards would Justin Jefferson get with Dak Prescott?
Insane
Numbers.
Insane numbers. And New Orleans, the only problem that could be a problem, Steven, is because they're in salary cap hell, and that contract they picked up with Derek Carr it's just loaded with all kinds of bullshit. They got a lot of cap issues, but the Bensons, and I do like Mickey Loomis, their general manager. They know how to kind of construct contracts. I think he'd be great down there. Plus, he played at Mississippi State. He'd be heading south, where he played in the Southeastern Conference. So that's kind of in his neck of the woods. I mean, New Orleans makes sense. New Orleans needs a quarterback.
Yeah,
Does he have another one?
Yeah, I guess the Vikings doesn't make sense because they just drafted a cornerback.
Yeah, they just drafted J.J. McCarthy.
I don't think that guy's going to be the guy. So, if
J.J. McCarthy is a worse Tim Tebow.
Yeah, really. That's a great comp. That's exactly what the guy looks like to me.
He looks exactly like Tim Tebow here. We made a mistake. Nolan is damaged goods. Dude, you drafted Nakobe Dean you drafted Nakobe Dean also too, Steven, when he was out an injury. And I'll tell you this, the two dudes that they brought out of there from Georgia had injury issues too when they came out of there too. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many question marks on defense compared to the offense. And yet, why do I feel the Eagles were so centric on addressing offensive issues this past offseason? The only reason that I think of that can come to my mind is only this, Xander, is that there were more things behind the scenes on what exploded and imploded offensively for that team that they're not saying. Because don't you feel like this with Vic Fangio? Hey, Vic, here's your fucking defense. Go fix the team. Here's a couple guys. We got you. You get to pick your guys. You go over to your side of the room and you take care of it. Hasn't the emphasis and the isolation and all the eyeballs been on the offense? You were 8th last year. You scored 26 points a game.
Yeah, but why are you getting that they addressed the offense more than the defense in the offseason? Okay,
well, they restructured Mulata's deal. They gave 2 brand new super deal contracts to your wideouts.
Well, that's different than addressing.
They got a $10 million running back. I mean,
the only things they did on the offense this year, in my opinion, this offseason were
money.
Saquon Barkley. But those extensions were going to get done. I mean,
what did they address money-wise on defense?
You chirped the hell out of Devontae Smith, which I understand, but the Eagles made out like a bandit.
But what did they address on defense that was horrific? Well, I didn't know the offense.
The cornerbacks. We got more cornerbacks than we know what to do with.
We'll see if they're good.
31 ranked pass defense last year.
How many of those guys do you have back there do you think are going to be a good ball player?
Yeah, we'll see, but at least they addressed it.
Okay.
Right? Like linebackers,
but they addressed it with more unknown.
Well, yeah, because when you draft a guy, it's unknown, but you still spent premium assets on it. That's like that's like the deal that Howie made for what's his name? Robert Quinn. Like, you're not going to knock it. He tried. No, Quinyon Mitchell was the undisputed number 1 cornerback by most people's metrics in this draft. They took a cornerback with their first round pick. Howie addressed what he thought, he was going to address. I'm not going to knock him for that. If Quinyon stinks out loud, well, that stinks. But Howie wouldn't be the only one that evaluated him wrong. That's for sure.
Any word on Milton as running back? He was injured too at Georgia.
You know why I like him?
Boy, I'll tell you something, Sean. That running game that they had down there at Georgia, and one thing that I'll never get, and I'll say this, I'm a huge college football fan. Georgia not being in that Final Four was the biggest hijacking of any team I've ever seen. How do you win 2 straight national titles? You lose to Alabama in overtime by 3 points, and you don't get a fucking crack at going out.
Who would you have put in?
Oh, I would have put Georgia in.
Okay, over who?
Washington.
Yeah, the team that Michigan shellacked. I was gonna say, you're gonna remove Bama. I thought that was. I thought Bama deserved to get in after beating Georgia in that moment. Now I'm a Bama guy, so you guys can tell me I got Bama.
No, they didn't want to put 2 SEC teams in. Prince says we 5 cornerbacks can't all be busted. No, that's my point. So what are you thinking? 1? You ain't getting all 5. All 5 of those guys ain't going to be good. Okay. You're hoping 1 is. It's a 60 here.
Who is the best chance to be good?
How about this? 65% of the cornerbacks in the last 15 years that have been drafted have been bust. Okay? At that position, it's the biggest premium missed position of every single position drafted in the draft. And you got 5 new ones back there. If you guys are under some sort of alcohol fucking use right now, thinking that all 5 of those guys are going to be Pro Bowlers,
why do I, as an Eagle fan, actually feel like right now all 5 of these guys could be good? I know I got Eagle glasses on, but
what is wrong with you?
Somehow, some way,
what is wrong with you? How can you feel that way?
Keely Ringo, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Isaiah Rodgers. Who am I missing? Who's the 5th one?
See, when I hear you talking like that, Sidney Brown, when I hear you talking, when I hear you talking like that, I hear names. You're going, oh, legit. I can't. I'm going like, God, they have never, and most of the guys you mentioned haven't played it down. Eli Ricks.
Prince, is that the 5th one? Is that who I'm missing? Is that who you're talking about? Because I think Eli's all right. I mean, the thing about Eli is he had some reps, but apparently he had a bad spring. And with this many guys on the roster, I just don't see it for him. But we'll see. Twiz says I've been drinking. Come on, Twiz. You don't think Quinyon can be good? Cooper can be good. Isaiah Rodgers can be good. Keely Ringo can be good.
Ohio State put a 70 burger on that Toledo team. And what's his name? Marvin Harrison Jr. put up a 2-score 70-yarder on him. Come on, me.
Hey, listen, man, you better read Stephen Kaufman before he holds us hostage. He's going to come over here and
just say, fuck you, Sills. Read it. Just got home. Pooped one.
And popped open a cold one.
Okay. Yeah, there you go, Steven. You feel better now, Steven? Jesus Christ. All right. Boy, I tell you, man, you and John in the morning. Oh, man, we got a whole plethora of like all these superstar, young, talented corners. And I'm like, what? Well, guy, they just got they don't even really have their football pants yet. They've only done jammies and helmets. And Xander's got this guy lined up like he's Brian Dawkins.
Hey, listen, man. I'm excited about the future of the cornerbacks in Philadelphia. I really am. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't. I get it. They have to do it first. I understand. But I'm good to wear my Eagle glasses on this because I feel good. I mean, I feel good as a fan. I'm excited for the first time in a bit about the back end of this defense being not only good, but a strength, a strong point. And that's going to help our young guys in the front. That's going to help Nolan Smith maybe find that gear. I don't know if it's in there or if it's not. It's going to help Jalen Carter. It's going to help Jordan Davis, and I'm excited for it.
Last question for you. Nolan Smith is a Yugo. All right, hang on. Hey, okay. Here it is. Last one here. Last 1 to 10. What do you think Jalen Hurts' rebound will be in 2024?
What are you asking for? Stats?
See, I asked the question, and it's a vague one. I want you to fill it in. Between 1 and 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jalen Hurts' 2024 season will be what to Xander Krause?
Winner, protector of the football, doesn't make careless decisions with the ball, doesn't take a safety in the playoff game, great decision making at the line of scrimmage, incorporates the talent around him, has a free flowing offense that isn't easily predictable, isn't dump offs, isn't dumb stuff, isn't constantly panned to the right. I want him to look like he did in 22. I want him to be an MVP candidate again. And that's what I think we all want to see. And that's what we need to see. Because if he's not, we got another conversation on our hands, and it's not a pretty one.
Is he an MVP candidate?
This year, are you asking me to project?
Yeah. This is what we do, kid.
I'm going to say yeah.
Look at you. There you go.
Win.
Hey.
Barbara says, win what, Xander? Expand on that. Win playoff games, Barb. Win when it matters, Barb.
What does winning look like to you?
Winning means winning in the playoffs, right? But you got to get there. You got to have yourself positioned for success when you get to the playoffs. You can't just stink out loud, sneak in the back, and, hope you're going to make a big run. The team has to be good. He has to have a good offense. And I think everybody, it's a weird thing is I think everybody has to feel like they're a part of the offense. You can't, Dallas Goedert, you got to get him involved. You got to keep Saquon involved. That's going to be one of Jalen's biggest tasks this year. You got a lot of playmakers, man. You got to keep a lot of guys happy. You got to keep a lot of egos at bay. And, we'll see.
Xander, can they use the kid from Florida State like a flex T? Did they sign that kid? Did they sign that quarterback that got hurt that took them to that undefeated season?
No. Somebody else signed him.
Yeah, somebody else signed him. I thought
What are you
Jets
talking about, Sean?
Yeah, I thought the Jets signed him, didn't they? I think he's on the Jets roster.
Sean, if you could clarify in the chat, I'll look for your next comment. Just clarify who you mean.
I thought the Jets signed that guy that took that team to the undefeated season, and he ended up getting beat, or he ended up getting hurt in the ACC title game. I thought the Jets have him right now.
Let me see if I can find Sean clarifying. I don't see it yet.
I think he's talking about Johnny Wilson.
What's he saying? Flex T. He's not talking about tackle. What's he talking about? Tight end?
I think he's talking about flexing him out.
Well, Johnny Wilson,
putting him in a slot. I think that's what Sean's meaning. I'm hoping.
I'm thinking he meant flex TE, and he is
flex tight end.
Johnny Wilson. He's that huge receiver we got. Flexing. I think he might be ripping me, or he's ripping people in the chat. I'm not sure. Flex, let me know, brother. The complacency kills me. I'm not complacent. People have already been on my case because I want greatness out of our quarterback and out of our team. But Flex, you got to be real too. You are not going to win a Super Bowl every year, no matter how much you like it. Tom Brady lost more at the end than he did, than he won at the end. So, we got to be a great team. We got to be in the mix. We have to make a real run. And if we lose in the playoffs, great. But don't go out like a limp dog that didn't give a shit, that sulked on the sideline, that didn't care at all, that Troy Aikman blasted on the telecast because we didn't look like we gave a shit. That's what I don't want. That's my bottom. That's bottom of the barrel. If we go to the NFC title game and we lose a nail biter to the Lions or to the Niners, I can live with that. I'm not happy. I wanted to do more, but I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can live if you show me you wanted it.
Well,
if
Jeffrey
you showed
Lurie,
me you were right there.
Would Jeffrey Lurie live with that?
That's the big question. But I think he would. I think the thing that hurt him most was probably the way it all ended last year. That was ugly. That was ugly as hell. Yeah, Sean was talking about the big receiver. Sean, you didn't have to super chat that again, brother. You could have. We appreciate it anyway. We do everything you guys super chat goes right into helping the channel make more content. So we appreciate anytime you guys drop a super chats. Goes a long way in us. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys help.
Bob Goodie's good, by the way. Bob gives a great comment. So Bob, we appreciate you. He says, Xander, you cannot be in the mix every year when your staff is always in the merry-go-round. But True. Bob, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're in the mix every year, your coordinators are going to go.
Unless
so
he's the head
coach. Would you rather
coach.
Keep the same coordinators and lose some years?
But unless he's the head coach.
Yeah, but even that, I mean.
Dude, Sean McVay's not going anywhere.
You're right. Andy Reid's not going anywhere.
Matt LaFleur's not going anywhere. Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere.
Steve says Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl, but no one fears him. That's not great. I mean,
I'll tell you what, dude.
I see what he's saying, though.
I do 20. Wait a minute. I don't fear that guy that they want to try to win from the pocket at all. He doesn't frighten me. That guy in 22 does. You know why? As a defender, I'm going to give you guys one comment that people used to say when they had Joe Montana and Steve Young on the Niners. Xander, this dynamic went down. 1 year, Montana got hurt. Okay. The next year, Young took over, won the MVP award, right? Montana came back. You know what everybody was saying? I'll tell you what, man. I don't want Montana getting hurt because that guy Young, he runs 4.4s. He gets in the open perimeter. Defending that is so insane. And that's why I'm so hard on Hertz now, is because the organization, I'm still saying this. You think they're going to have this grand turnaround and how they're going to coach him. I do not. I think they're going to coach him like Dak. You don't think that. I think they're coaching him like Dak Prescott.
This is where, if you're right, I don't know if you're right, by the way. You might be wrong.
No.
But if you are right, then that's where I would completely just don't understand the philosophy, the business decisions, why sign Jalen Hurts if that's what you want? It's not even a knock on Jalen Hurts. If that's what the organization really wants, is to turn him into something he is not, why did you pay the guy?
Here's a stat to watch in that Green Bay game September 6th. If that guy's got over 34 attempts, I'm going to be right.
You mean in the opening game?
Yeah. I'm going to be right.
That's true, Bob.
Because you signed a running back for $10 million for a reason. If Barkley has 12 carries and Hertz has 37 passing attempts, we're going to know what they're trying to do.
That's a good point.
Because I look at Green Bay and go, Green Bay's decent on defense. I wouldn't write them in as a top 15 defense. Maybe top 15.
Dude, did you see the coordinator they hired?
I know. I'm not.
They got some players, but wait, I do want to make sure we answer Sean Mims, who told us the flex tight end is what he was talking about. I think they could use Johnny Wilson, by the way, there. I mean, I don't think that's what they want to do, but I'm wondering if they're going to do it anyway because it's been such a shitty position for us. After Dallas got it, we've really had nothing there. They tried the Calcaterra thing. They tried Jack Stoll, who's now, I think, in New York. I don't know. I mean, I think CJ Uzomah is an upgrade, so we will see how it turns out with him. But I just wanted to make sure we answered Sean because he dropped $10 on that one. So, Sean, we appreciate you, brother. Steve, back for another. Steve, now we're hitting you, brother. We got you. The best Foles was better than all pro Hertz. Just saying. Well, the problem with Foles is he was
consistency, though.
Yeah, there was
Foles
zero
was never consistent except for that 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, but he's right. When Foles was great, boy, was he great. Remember the 7 touchdown game?
Oh,
I mean, he was great when he played, but, you're not going to build a team around an inconsistent
There's only
quarterback.
one other guy that I ever saw streakier than him. You know who it was? Eli Manning. You get Eli in a post game, that fucker goes on these insane streaks where he's unbeatable, man.
I am not an Eli hater. I am not an Eli hater.
I know. You know what? My wife loves the guy too. She thinks
I don't love him. I'm not a Giant guy, but I'm saying I think people are.
You think you're too hard on him?
A little careless with their commentary on him, talking about career win percentage.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
I do. Dan, he beat Tom Brady
twice.
The pinnacle of the sport, the GOAT, the greatest coach of all time.
In his
prime twice. And he beat the greatest team maybe to ever play in the entire NFL if they won that Super Bowl. And he beat them that year. I mean, you got to give a guy credit for that. I mean, you're going to say that those don't matter as much as his career win percentage when you're playing in the shitty New York Giants. I mean, yeah, his career win percentage isn't great, but it's a team game.
It's 500.
It really is. It's a team game, though, Dan. It's a team game.
So this goes to the argument that you make with me like this. Coaches are a little different, so it's not quite fair, but win percentages for coaches can be a little bit misleading too, because just because you have a great win percentage like Sirianni, that doesn't make him a better coach than Reid.
Well, I would argue that it's more important for a coach than it is for a player.
It is.
You know, but
It is.
in the same breath, you're right. If you give Nick Sirianni the Giants roster, yeah, he's not going to have as good of a win percentage as he does here in Philly. So that's a good point. Flexen drops in a super chat. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Bob. Preach it. Bob always preaches. Bob is one of our best commenters. I really love Bob Brown's comments. The guy is a very good football mind. You can tell. Smart dude. So I love when he comments.
Fantastic stuff. Xander, where are we in the likes? Folks are trying to get to 200 likes.
110, man. We're weak. We're low, man.
Go, guys. We got to pick this up. We're 90 away from 200 likes. Xander, tomorrow morning, don't forget Farzetta. Hey, you know what's really made our network so spectacular? I've tuned on because of my my issues with my own show that we've had the last couple of days because of the connection. I've gone and checked out some of the other shows. They're unlistenable. And I'll tell you what, every single show that's on right now on JAKIB Sports is different. They allow the people to talk. There's a place. This has got to be one of the only avenues for everyone to come and go like this to the host. Hey, that's not right. You're full of shit. Hey, Sileo, you're crazy. Xander, you're nuts. Hey, John, stop waving a paw. I mean, nobody at WIP ever would put on people or have them in their show's content that would ever do anything like that. And that's why this thing is growing the way it is.
Wait, before I
say that because I'm proud of what we're doing.
Oh, I am too, Dan, and I'm very proud of it. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everybody on the network. I think we've done a lot, and I'm proud of it. I do want to clarify though for Friday. So Friday, I had a busy ass Friday coming out of that wedding. I'm like all over the place. I wasn't even producing the show Friday.
He was hammered.
Yeah, no, I wasn't hammered. I wasn't even hungover. Now the morning show was a little tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a little tough. But Friday, I go on YouTube after Friday, after I got done busy, and I'm checking in on our comments and stuff. Everybody's like, Dan Sileo gets censored. JAKIB is censoring Dan Sileo. YouTube is censoring them. Eagles are censoring them. I'm like, whoa. It's all good, everybody.
Now I know.
Back on Monday. I promise. I'm not canceling Big Sills for his opinions.
Hey,
I don't care.
Now I know why I kept getting these on my Twitter page. Hey, Sills, the entire world is against us. I go, what happened? Well, is everyone trying to censor you? They're censoring you off your own show. I'm like, what are you talking about? My fucking cable went down.
Bro, you're in comedy now. Where's JM? JM is in here, and he's always giving me things you can do for your internet. Eventually we got to do one of them.
Oh, Skylink. Somebody gave me some info when it came to Skylink, and I'm going to start doing that. Last one, guys. Foles would be a better Eagles quarterback of all time if the records had never been traded to the Rams. Yes or no? You're talking the first time when he was 2016.
Yeah, that's what he's talking. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Here, let me say something to you, Sean, about Nick Foles. Okay. So, who coached Nick Foles? Who coached Nick Foles, Xander?
Was it Chip early? Yeah, it was Chip, right?
Chip. Okay. So, he was in Jacksonville. He was also with Jeff Fisher. And he was with Matt Nagy up in Chicago. Chicago has never developed a quarterback in the last 60 years. The Jags haven't developed a quarterback, and they're not even sure, but they gave this guy a boatload of money and Trevor Lawrence. And the Rams, that guy has killed every career, almost killed golf's career. I say this to you about Nick Foles. Nick Foles has not been around quality enough coaches to develop him and to be able to make him into being the kind of quarterback he could have been. He went to shitholes in Indianapolis. Everywhere he went outside of Indy was a terrible place. My point with Foles is if he completes that pass against the New Orleans Saints and Alshon catches that, you're trading Wentz. Because you would have went to 2 NFC title games in a row with him. You're going to trade a guy who was a Super Bowl MVP 1 year and then turn the team back to the NFC title game? You're going to move off that guy?
No, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I do have a hard time thinking the Eagles would have won. It seems to be like this the story of Nick Foles' career. Like he was good,
He ends
but
up in shitty places other than Philly.
I know, but is that because that no he was good, but he wasn't good enough for a team to buy into him fully? I mean, fully buy into him, make him the starting quarterback, build the team around him. He was never that guy. For whatever reason, I like him, but he was never that guy. Maybe it was the inconsistency. Maybe it was they just didn't think he had the skill set. But I think that's part of the reason he ended up with so many shitty coaches, because he was kind of a pinball in the league. Nobody thought he was that type of guy where you could make your franchise quarterback and build around him. Right? Yale says streaky. He was streaky.
Would you bring him in now for Hertz?
I wouldn't, because I think it would do more harm than good.
Why harm?
Because I think the city would be.
Oh, they'd start
I'm saying they would want him in there. I just think it would kind of undermine Hertz in a way that he's a guy that lifted the trophy here. Like fans would be. It's like if Jalen Hurts and Nick Foles walked up to you on the street. Like I think fans might ask Foles for the picture first. You know what I mean? Like I think it would undermine him in that kind of way, and it's not worth it. Like what's the upside? He doesn't have what he had.
So that means you see a little bit what Wentz went through.
Oh, I definitely understand. From a human perspective, do you not understand what Wentz went through?
Oh, no. Because if Jalen can't take it, why should Wentz?
Well, Wentz had a different scenario too. I mean, Wentz played like a Super Bowl, like a MVP. I mean, he was unbelievable. He was winning games with Travis Fulgham, and you see that. You don't get to see it through, and then another guy takes the baton and gets a lot of the credit. That's a tough thing. Like, imagine for a second, and this is coulda, woulda, shoulda, playing what ifs, but what if Jalen went down in 22? And just say Gardner Minshew, I think he was our backup at the time. Gardner Minshew took the team to the dance that year. Like that would hurt. No, I mean, any human.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me, you, anybody in the chat. If you have that type of success, and then somebody else takes it, that's a tough thing. Like, I can understand that. I don't have a problem with that. Now, I have a problem with how Wentz responded to it. I thought that there was a way to use that fuel and rise up and make you a better player, a better man, a better person, a better leader, a better follower of Christ. He's always talking about that, a better everything. And I thought he kind of shied away from that, and that's what I didn't like. But if you're talking about understanding what he went through and being able to empathize and see that, I think no doubt. It's almost hard not to see it.
I'm going to give you one moment that I think was the unraveling. I saw a video of the locker room after the Super Bowl, and there was Wentz sitting on the floor, and he was pouting.
Yeah.
And I was like this, there lies the difference between Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz, because when Tua won the national title, the first person that gave him high fives
was Jalen
Hurts.
Yes, it was. First person to put the hat on, first person to be there. I mean, he really was a true professional in his years in Alabama. He really was.
I wouldn't have been.
I wouldn't have been either.
I didn't like coming out of games. I threw my helmet.
Yeah.
I
get it, man. I get it.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So from that perspective, I do get it. I certainly get it with Nick, but with Carson too, I don't like the way Wentz responded. I didn't like the way Wentz responded, but we talked about it already. Nick was a guy that people loved him, but the right people never fully believed in him.
I thought it was his surfer type attitude, where he was just one of these guys that looked like this. Hey, I'm a fucking guy played at the Arizona Wildcats basketball. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a superstar quarterback. Oh yeah, I bang all the really great looking chicks. Oh yeah, life looked like it came too easy for him. Yeah. And he really didn't put a lot into it. And you're like, the guy just threw for 7 touchdowns. And he's like this. Fuck it.
I never looked at Nick Foles and saw surfer, but I like it, Sills. I see where you're going, and I like it.
He's just like, he was like this, man. life came easy to him. And it just looked like everything was so easy where guys are slaving away. They're banging on shit. And he's like, fuck it. I just had 3 girls and I won a Super Bowl. How you doing?
It's true. Wait, I want to go to Bob Brown's comment. Another good one from our guy, Bob. He said, guys, Foles is like Hertz. If you run a system that fits him, he can excel. Philly did that for Foles, but is not doing it for Hertz. Bob, are you sure though? I mean, are you ruling out that they're going to, what's that?
You got to wait and see.
You got to wait and see, right? I mean, I think that's fair. I think you got to wait and see here on Kellen. I'm not sure, but I do see what you're saying there, Bob.
Yeah, no, I don't. No one could tell me Foles got screwed here. No.
Can't tell me. So he's saying that he thinks Foles was screwed. I mean, look, he's right.
I would have kept Foles.
No, you wouldn't have.
Yes, I would have.
No, you wouldn't. I'm calling bullshit on that right now.
Wait a minute. No, I would have kept him. You know why? I would have kept him because the team in the locker room wanted him. My teammates responded to him better.
Yeah, but you're a football guy, Dan.
You bet. Oh, no. Now, wait. You want to talk business with me or do you want to talk what I think?
I think everything. See, when you're making a decision like that, both things matter. I don't think they're separate. I think they're context for the decision. You're a football guy and you would have valued that more. But when you take a guy like Howie, and I'm not even knocking Howie here, I'm just saying he drafts a guy 2nd overall. He's playing like an MVP caliber quarterback. He's throwing the ball all over the yard. He has an unbelievable arm, an arm we haven't seen in Philly for a long time. He plays at the pinnacle, looks like an MVP. The team that you're good, like you wouldn't have paid that. You wouldn't have chose Nick after that. You wouldn't have.
Nick won the MVP in the Super Bowl against Brady and Belichick.
I know, but that wasn't. He was the backup guy.
If that decision, let's just play a game here. If that decision was in New England and Belichick, after what he saw for 2 years with Foles, and that decision came, what do you think Bill would have done? You think he would have stuck with Wentz, or do you think he would have stuck with Foles? Because you know why? He just gave Bledsoe $118 million. And you know what he did? He told Bob Kraft, hey, I'm going with the 6th rounder who makes $500,000, and he's my fucking guy.
I think it goes back to what we just said, though. It goes back to what I said about they never viewed Foles in that light. Like, to make that decision, Bill Belichick had to look at Tom Brady and say, I see a career.
I believe in you.
I believe it. Not just now. I believe in the career you're going to have. Nick Foles was a moment, if that makes sense.
It does.
He was a moment.
He was.
Carson was the career quarterback, the franchise quarterback. Nick Foles had the moment. And I don't think they were ever going to buy in past that point. And that's unfortunate. I don't know if I would have made that decision. I'd like to think I probably, if I'm being completely honest with myself, I would have chose Carson too. I really would have. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying hindsight might be 2020. Maybe it was a better move to go with Foles.
I think it depends on the organization.
I don't think that he struck the chord that Carson did with them.
I think. Oh, who do you think Andy would have stuck with?
I think Andy would have stuck with Carson too. I think Andy would have liked the offensive potential of Carson Wentz. Remember, Carson had, before this shit show that's unraveled, that is Carson Wentz's career. Carson Wentz had some unbelievable physical traits.
He holds
unbelievable
season records.
He wasn't just being talked about in Philly. He was being talked about all over the NFL. People were looking for their Carson Wentz.
I thought he was the next coming of Brett Favre. Just so you know, I thought he was the next
big
coming
guy,
of Favre.
unbelievable arm, mobile, could move, smart. I mean, he was the whole package in a way. And he was what the Eagles dreamed of getting and having. And they got him. And I didn't think they were about to give that up for Nick Foles. And I don't know if I can knock him for it, to be honest.
It's mind-blowing that Foles won the Super Bowl with the RPO that makes Hertz great and got us to the Super Bowl was the RPO. Yet we barely ran it last year. Hey, Do you understand, Bald Eagle? That's why I'm not high on Hertz. You go back to this, I am. See, Xander thinks that they're going to go back and magically go back to this.
I don't say I think they're going to go back. I think they're going to create an offense that works for Jalen's skill set. They have no choice. They have no choice.
Guys, Xander, awesome stuff as always, man. Don't forget, guys, catch Birds 365 in the morning. Please hit the like button. Xander will be with us tomorrow. By the way, Gary Cobb's doing a football event today, so he's on tomorrow at 4:30. Fox 29's very own Gary Cobb. And he was over at the complex talking to Nick Sirianni, so he's got some insight on what some of the things are being said, especially over the last 10 days. So he's going to say that tomorrow as well. Xander, thank you very much. Appreciate it, my friend.
Big Sills, thank you, brother. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We got a lot of super chats when I was on here, so we appreciate them more than you know. They go a long way in helping the channel, and we appreciate you guys as well as all the comments. We appreciate you guys. I love you all. Sills, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
You bet, man. Keep it here, National Football Show. Hit the like button. Keep it here.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Where are we on the like list? 200 by the end of the program, my friends. So we're looking forward to that. We hope that you guys will help us get to that by the top of the 6 o'clock hour Eastern time. Where are we on that list? Like to know how many likes. 143. Guys are picking it up big time. Thank you guys so much. Before we move on here, by the way, Game 7 tonight. Stanley Cup, who you got? Edmonton or the Florida Panthers? I'm not going with anything from Canada. So I got to go with the Panthers. Panthers, they stopped the miracle, even though that's a tremendous story what the Edmonton Oilers are doing. And Connor McDavid is unbelievable in what he's playing. He may end up getting the Conn Smythe Award and be the first guy to get that, I think, since Ron Hextall won it when Ron Hextall was on the losing end. I think Hextall won the Conn Smythe. I think he's the only guy for the Flyers ever to win the Conn Smythe Award in a losing series when it came to the Stanley Cup Finals. So he could join that. He could absolutely join that. By the way, that's a great finals. The ratings are off the charts. I'm actually looking forward to that. Hey, did you guys see Travis Swift with Taylor Swift over the weekend? The guy's quite a little guy, man. I mean, he's a big TV star now. See Travis Swift? Man, New Heights podcast. That ought to be something big between Travis Swift and Jason Kelce. Right? That should be great. Right? I love me some Travis Swift. That guy's living a great life. He's over there, up there with the Royals now. And, I think the guy's going to have. Oh, that's right, too. I forgot 03. Thank you very much, LJ. Okay, so there's two dudes that did it. All right. Thank you, man. Yeah, hey, he's over there with the Royals, hanging out with Tom Cruise. This guy's quite a movie star now. Top hat, black tie, hanging out with Taylor Swift, all the Swifties. By the way, she's a very mediocre chick when it comes to looks, but I get it kind of in a way. She's the Caitlyn Clark of singers. Hey, tell me I'm wrong. Nobody's ever going to confuse her with like Roberta Flack. Okay? Or nobody's ever going to confuse her with being Whitney Houston. She's the Caitlyn Clark of singers. Woo! Look at her. What? Well, she puts a really good show on. So does Beyonce. She's 10 times the performer. Yeah, but it's Caitlyn. It's Taylor Clark. Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry if I like Whitney Houston, dude. Okay? I'm sorry if I like Whitney Houston. Whitney's all good. Olivia Newton-John. No, I'm not going back that far, Hoss. Hey, man, if you want to go Cardi B, man, I'm good with that, too. Paya, boom, pia, fee. Put my Coke can right there, ready to rock and roll. You want to go Cardi B? I'm ready for you. Yeah. She's the Taylor Swift, the Caitlyn Clark of singers. No, boy. Speaking of that, okay? Speaking of that, I got to tell you, I watched that Sky game versus the Fever on Sunday. Carrie Underwood. No, not me. No, thank you. I'm all right with that. So I watched Fever and Sky on Sunday. I thought that thing was great. So many people are trying to make it into a race war. It's so not. Hey, did you see Angel Reese, though? You could have swore she won the NBA Finals after beating. That's the Caitlyn Clark factor. Oh, we won. Man, everybody's missing this thing. This is so good. I'm glad people are trying to make it into a race war. So good for ratings. You know why? Because the majority of you that think like that are pathetic. Pathetic. Angel Reese was awesome. She was awesome. So was Clark. So was the whole thing. It's the best basketball game I've seen. By the way, the NBA Finals sucked compared to that. I was more entertained by that game than any game I saw in the NBA Finals. Oh, God. That thing was a media race war that they're trying to do. Awesome. please continue. You know why? Brings eyeballs, conversation, talk, and money. Sills, you really don't? Yeah, I do. I've never seen a sport explode like this in my life in women's sports. Thank God. She's the golden goose. She is the golden goose. Sell it. But Sills, I don't give a shit about the racial factor. Who's better, who's not. I know this. That white chick is breaking attendance records. You see that Atlanta game on Friday night? They had 18,000 in there where the Hawks play. No one's doing that but her. I don't care what you... Hey, Sil, she's a white chick. Great. But she's not better than Wilson, who's the MVP in the... I didn't say she was. So you're rooting for her because she's white? I'm rooting for her because she makes a lot of money for all the players in the league. I'll tell you, Twiz goes like this, WNBA, trash. Well, if WNBA is trash, the NBA is a toilet bowl. There's not one redeeming factor. By the way, I'd rather watch two American chicks play basketball on a Sunday than two European nobodies. I don't even know who they are. Wembenyama, I'm not interested. Joker, I don't care. Dokic, I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care. I'd rather watch those two chicks play on Sunday. It's a real thing. Games are better. I agree, flexing. But they're not slamming. I don't care. But they're bitching, playing physical basketball. I enjoyed it. NBA, and flexing, the NBA is horrible. And by the way, how about this one? Most notably and most importantly, how about this? Well, it's load management time for me, and I don't want to play. So with you guys who go and play or pay NBA top dollar and LeBron or any of the stars that are in the game aren't playing because of load management. They only play 65 games. They had to put a clause in to make sure you made an all-star team so you didn't take too many games off. What does that tell a person who scrapes and puts all the money together to go watch somebody like LeBron? I'm not just blaming LeBron or Steph Curry, but how about that when the guys go, I'm not playing because I'm tired, and you make $500,000 a night, and that guy is lucky if he makes $500 a day. What's that message send? So because people don't have the disposable income that others think people have. People can't buy season tickets. I mean, LeBron James makes $700,000 a game, and he takes games off because he's tired. And some of you go, well, more power to LeBron, okay? More power to me. I'm not going. Or supporting, because that's not something I do. But I watch these women play, knocking each other's asses out, playing as hard as they can. I'm going to reward that with my attention. I've watched more WNBA than I ever have in my entire last 28 years than I've watched in the last month and a half. I've never watched an MLS game, nor do I have the interest in doing that. Now, maybe if you had somebody like Caitlyn Clark playing soccer on the men's side, maybe I would. See what personalities do to sports? Jordan, Magic, Larry, Shaq, Kobe. That's what and how important. Look at Major League Baseball. Who's the biggest draw in baseball right now? Shohei Ohtani? Okay. Who else? Bryce Harper? I don't know. I think he's okay. I'm talking about attention. The Phillies? Outside of Philly? Really? Maybe. Hey, if you think Manny Machado making $35 million a year, Aaron Judge, Yankees, sure. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Well, who else? Mookie Betts? Ohtani and Judge? Probably. Yeah. You lined up any other. Hey, could you identify, but people in Philly and Jersey can, because you know who he is. If you put Mike Trout in Minnesota and you put him in a mall, you couldn't pick him out of 100 guys. And Mike Trout's being considered today. You don't have personalities like Willie Mays or Reggie Jackson. I'll tell you what, that comment that Reggie made last week at that Old Timers, man, does baseball miss that? Baseball misses that so much. Hey, these guys said back in the day what was on their mind. Do you know what Philadelphia, one of the most incredible athletes in Philadelphia sports history and one of the most controversial Philadelphia sports athletes were of all time? And you guys took a shit all over him. And you know who he was? It was Dick Allen. Because those guys back then said what was ever on their mind. Philly fans back then couldn't understand Dick Allen. Remember, he would write all the shit in the first base dirt. Hey, fuck you. He would write that stuff to the Philly fans who were booing him. He was talking to Philly fans with his cleats. That's why they dealt him to Chicago. They dealt it to Chicago because he wasn't going to be pushed around. And he won an MVP award in Chicago. 1973, he won the MVP. Dick Allen and Reggie, I loved them. You know why? They spoke their mind. Baseball doesn't have that today. You know why? It's kind of like the Hertz factor. You make $50 million. Are you really going to kick a storm up about being controversial or saying anything outlandish? No. You're going to take your money. You're going to go to your locker, and you're going to go home. Fly, Dick Allen. If Kirby Puckett, Fly, is a Hall of Famer, Dick Allen is a Hall of Famer. Dick Allen doesn't have a World Series title. That's why he's not in the Hall of Fame. But Dick Allen was one of the most intimidating hitters of all time. There's no question. Dick Allen was hey, Wampum, come on, man. Come on. The racism in this fan base was featured frontline in Reggie Jackson's movie 42. Thought that was a little unfair because that shit went on also underdog in St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was notorious for racism. They couldn't even, and nor would the news writers and sports writers even pronounce Roberto Clemente's name right. Okay? They called him Bobby Clemente, even on his baseball card. They wouldn't address him and his heritage when he was. Hey, and by the way, Brian, do you know who signed Roberto Clemente in Pittsburgh? Do you know who signed him, Brian? Branch Rickey. When Branch Rickey got fired in Brooklyn by Walter O'Malley, he became the director of baseball for the Pirates. And do you understand why the Pirates were so great? Doc Ellis, Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente, Manny Sanguian. Those were all Branch Rickey's guys. Branch Rickey was the guy who went into the Dominicans and into that area of the world and started recruiting and signing guys and looking at guys and evaluating guys like Louis Tiant. Tiant signed, I think, with Cleveland first, if I'm not mistaken. Richie Hebner was on that team too. Yep. Richie Zisk was also on that team. But if you look at it, you had so many great baseball players. Stargell was on that team. Sanguian was on that team. Marino was on that team. And it was all because of Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey did all that stuff for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's why the Pirates were so good in the 60s. Seals, do you think Clemente would have had an impact like Willie Mays did if he was able to finish his career. He was at Martin. Clemente was at the end of his career anyway. In 73, his last hit was off of John Matlack to get his 3,000th hit. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was 39 or 40. So you have to remember, by the way, don't forget Dave Parker was also part of that whole thing. No, I didn't say Zisk played in the World Series. I don't think he did. He came later. I think Hebner came later too. But Clemente was already at the end of it a little bit. So his last baseball hit was off John Matlack of the Mets. And I believe it was at Three Rivers. Or was that Riverfront? Oh, wait a minute. Was that Three Rivers in Pittsburgh? And he got the hit off the Mets, John Matlack. And then I think 3 months later, he died in a plane crash. But bottom line came down to, you got to remember something. I had Henry Aaron on my program. My wife booked him, which is incredible. Henry Aaron always believed that Clemente had it harder than Robinson. Why would you think Clemente had it harder than Robinson? By the way, top of the hour, we're going to do the Big Sills pre-camp Power 32. We're going to do that at the top here. Why do you think Clemente, according to Henry Aaron, that's right, Fly, Roberto couldn't speak. He couldn't speak English. And he always thought Clemente had it tougher because he didn't understand what they were saying. He says Clemente just, and hey, if you go back and you look, one last thing on this, because I thought that whole Reggie thing was sensational over the weekend. It's one of the greatest bit of broadcasting I've ever seen. If you go back and you look at the National League MVPs from 1947, okay, until 1962, in the NL, Don Newcomb twice, Campanello 3 times, Aaron, Mays, Frank Robinson, Maury Wills. The majority of the MVPs from 47 to 62 were all Negro League players. They were all Negro League players. Clemente. So maybe the Negro League players, maybe the Negro Leagues did have the best players. It changed my opinion when I went back and looked at that those stats should be in there because they should be. They had the best players. Look at the MVP awards. And what made it even crazier, there was a streak. Hey, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, there was a streak from like the 60s, middle of the 60s until like 1980 something, where the National League never lost. You know why? National League brought the black players in. The American League didn't. They had Elston Howard, Larry Doby, but very few teams had black players in the American League. The white owners in the American League didn't want black players in. The National League did. They integrated quicker. Shit, man, from 1947 until 1962, the first Red Sox was put on the team that was black in 62. That's how long it took the Red Sox. Crazy. National League has the better pitchers, 60s and 70s. Absolutely. Absolutely. Koufax and Gibson. Tremendous. Juan Marshall. I mean, Steve Carlton. They were all, there's great pitching. Great stuff. All right. We are going to do the Big Sills Power 32 pre-camp teams. Where does your team sit? Also, little bit on Saquon Barkley. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Where are we right now in likes, my friend? Where are we in likes? Oh, man. Koufax, Gibson, and Seaver. 159. Okay. 41 away. Real quick here, Barb. Hey, Barb, I used to go over to Shea Stadium and Carlton and Seaver were on the hill. That was not missed television when I was a young kid. There'd be Steve Carlton. Lefty was one of the greatest pitchers I've ever seen, and intimidating of all time was Carlton. Watching Carlton and Seaver pitch against each other, my God, it was one of the highlights of my young life. These two dudes going at it. And even when I think he was in St. Louis, I never missed that. I love Tom Seaver. That was just such a great, or when Koufax early, I think Koufax quit in 68. Does it sound right? So that I couldn't have I didn't go to it. No, I didn't go to my first games until the early 70s. All right. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Let me ask. I saw something earlier, and I want to be clear here. By the way, please hit the like button. We're trying to get to 200. Did Marvin Harrison have a 70-yard touchdown catch in the Toledo-Ohio State game? Let's see here. I want to double check because I think somebody called me a liar here. Let's see here. Here's the stats. Read more here. Combined for 6 catches, 102, and a pair of touchdowns. Who said I lied? It was 77-21. And Marvin Harrison had 6 catches for 102 and 2 touchdowns. Woo-wee! Isn't that over your boy, Quinion Williams? Mitchell? What is it? Oh, man. Marvin Harrison Jr. Here it is. Oh, look at that catch. Right there against Mr. Toledo. Look at that catch. Who said I was lying in here? 106 and 2 touchdowns. Ladder just wrong. He called me a liar. He got 2 TDs in that game. 102, baby. 2 TDs and a 7. And they put a 70 burger on him. How you doing? Come on, me. Come on, me. Oh, hey, we're just looking to be factual here. Phillies and Pirates in the late 60s decided not to bring the DH to the National League, which was their choice. Did absolutely help the American League. Come on, mate. How you doing, Maniac? All right. Yeah, hey, another report just came in, and we have a spot now on Hong Kong Fui Reddick. He's now crossed over the China Wall, the Great Wall of China, and he's over on the Russian side right now, and he's going after Vladimir Putin with his samurai sword. Hey, man, at least he's got a good reason for missing training camp and minicamp. Okay, at least there's a good reason. He got over the Great Wall, and he's going after Vladimir Putin. Woo-ah! Hong Kong Fui Reddick, ready to rock. How you doing, man? He's in China now. Yeah, he walked through the streets of Japan, had to get a samurai sword, had to get his gear and his moccasins or whatever them things are, his cool-ass umbrella. And now he just crossed over, and now he's going after Vladimir Putin. Then he's going to stop over at Zelensky's over in Ukraine, and I'm sure they'll have like a bunch of laughs because I hear the guy was a comedian before. Of course, he was like the chancellor or whatever the guys are called over there, whatever it is. Yeah. Whoa! Hey, you think when he makes a sack, he's going to do that this year? Whoa! I dig that. Hong Kong Fui Reddick. Woo! Yeah! Woo! This is for Howie. This is a Howie booger. Oh, man. Oh, hey. I love that. I watched that video at least 100 times. Howie son. Every time he gets a sack. Howie son. How you doing? Howie son. All right. I want someone, Zelensky, perform nude comedy skits. Sam, no. I just almost Ron Burging that. I don't even want to finish that thing. No, Sam. No, thank you. No, Sam. No, thank you, Sam. Hey, I wish my quarterback would talk like this. Look at Kyler Murray. Got to tell you something. This young player that we have here on our football team, Marvin Harrison Jr., there's no reason on the planet that our offense can't be in the top 3 or 4 as one of the better offenses this coming season. We can run the ball, and boy, I love this kid. What a major impact he's going to make in our offense. This is Kyler Murray talking? Hey, Jonathan Gannon. Okay. That's great to hear from a player who I didn't think had that capability of talking like that. I can't believe I actually am hearing him say good things about his teammates. I can't. Hey, I think we have a chance to be in the top 3 best offenses in the National Football League. I don't care if it's true. I care he's saying it. I never hear Hertz say that. I think our offense could be the best offense in national football. Have you ever heard that? Get the best talent in the league. And hey, I think with Barkley's addition, hey, Sills, he's working out with him. It's not, if an organization that cares so much about how they're perceived, posting a video is not good enough for the Eagles. They want you to say it. Just because Jalen's working out with Barkley doesn't mean the Eagles like that messaging. They like mouthpieces. I don't know so much as if they like puppets, but they like mouthpieces. Hey, I told you how Jalen should have answered, or Nick should have answered the press conference. He has no balls. And Howie at least has a pair. I'm not answering the Reddick thing. You're not informed on it, so let's move on. Howie's the only guy that can say that? If Nick, Jalen says that the offense is brand new. Well, it probably seems brand new, especially some of the terminology. We understand that. So, Nick, is it new? Not to us. So, is the quarterback confused? He'll get there. It's Jalen Hurts. We have total confidence in him. He says you don't have a role. Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I would put it more like this. My role is going to be less visible to him because I've got more responsibilities on my football team, defense, special teams. And we're trying to get this right because we had a nuclear meltdown. And I'm glad he says that because my attention just can't be focused on Jalen Hurts. It's got to be focused on all assets of the team. So in retrospect, I think that's a great answer and a great way to say it. And he actually said, I should be asked the question. Here's me answering it. Why can't people answer like that in Philly? Well, you know, the thing and the dog and the dog and the wolves and the wing. And I'm with Xander and many people. Sills, that shit's a nothing. I get it. But why is it so important to them? It just sounds dumb. It just sounds dumb. There's an obvious disconnect with Hertz and Sirianni. Yeah, but you know what I would do, Barb? If I was Nick Sirianni, and if you feel that way, that there's a disconnect between Hertz and Sirianni, I would do this if I was Sirianni. I would put that to rest. I have a great relationship with the guy. Put it on him. I don't know what he's talking about. Or not even answer that and go, I have a great relationship with him. Anytime we have an issue, we talk about it. Every time there's good things, we talk about those. We talk about some issues we have to work on. My relationship with Jalen hasn't changed since I got here and I walked in the building. Why don't you just say that? Right? All right. I'm going to ask you a question here about Barkley. But before I do that, I want to show you something that's really the most obnoxious thing I've seen. And I want someone to help me on this. And you know what? Excuse me for having sometimes to do a little extra homework and using Siri to do this. So I apologize. How many points did Bronny James score last year with the USC Trojans? Okay. So he scored 4.8 points a game. And he's going to be the 17th player taken in the first round by the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't ever talk to me about going to all-star games like Caitlyn Clark. And she doesn't deserve to be on the Olympic team when you got a kid who doesn't deserve to be in a starting rotation in any major college basketball program in America. I mean, this guy can't start at Southern Cal. I didn't even know they had college basketball at USC. How is he the 17th pick in the upcoming NFL draft this week? Because he's LeBron's kid? That's why he's going to be picked in the first round. The Lakers look at what the Lakers are going to do. They signed J.J. Redick as their new coach, and they're going to draft LeBron James. They're going to draft his son, Bronny James. Dude, I get on Josh Harris's ass with the Sixers. At least they're doing a little bit better. Lakers have had 6 losing seasons in the last 10 years. I mean, hey, wouldn't that be crazy if the 76ers drafted Bronny James and LeBron came to – oh, my God, that would be insane great. And LeBron came to Philly. I wonder how the Philadelphia sports fan would take to LeBron James in Philadelphia. He did score 27 last year. How would the Philly sports fans take to LeBron James if he got drafted by the Sixers this coming week? Typical Sixers. Juju was better player than Bronny. I forgot Juju Smith-Schuster played hoop. Seals, we're at 175 likes, 25 more, folks. All right, let's move on. Bronny James, LeBron James. That'd be something to watch. And Joel Embiid. That would be worth the price of admission. Okay. Give me a ranking on where you think Saquon Barkley is and how people perceive him. Top 5 back? Top 10? Top 15? What do you think people look at him when it comes to being the top backs in the National Football League right now? If you had to put, I'm not going top 32. I'm only doing top 10. Top 10 running backs. Where's Barkley in that? He's top 12. Top 10. Top 10, says Yale. Fourth, I'd say around 8. I'd have to go through every team, but I say 9. Top 5, of course, Twiz. Twiz ought to get a job or working with Howie and the Eagles, man. He values those guys big time, them Eagle players. Top 5. Okay. So here's Pro Football Focus's, and here's mine. Because I want to give you contrast here. The top running back let's go from the top down. Pro Football Focus has Christian McCaffrey, number 1. I agree. They have Derrick Henry, number 2. I agree. Do you guys remember the guy I told you to draft? So let me ask you this. Would you rather have Bijan Robinson or Jalen Carter? Pro Football Focus has Bijan Robinson as the 3rd best back, and so do I in the league. Who would you rather have? Jalen Carter or Bijan Robinson? I'm not. Who would you rather have? DB says Jalen Carter. Carter, and it's not close. Well, Carter's not the 3rd best interior tackle. Carter? I'm still taking Carter, Sills. Me too. Until further notice, I'm still taking Carter at 9 and not Robinson. I agree with you. Number 4 is Chubb, according to Pro Football Focus. I got Jonathan Taylor of the Colts at 4. They've got Taylor, Colts 5. I've got Chubb 5. Number 6, I got Breece Hall. Barkley wasn't even the best back in New York last year. From the Jets, I got Breece Hall of the Jets at number 6. Pro Football Focus has Josh Jacobs at number 7. Green Bay. I got Barkley 7. Pro Football Focus has Barkley 8. I have Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit 8. They have Jahmyr Gibbs 9. I have Josh Jacobs, Green Bay at 9. And they have Aaron Jones, Minnesota, 10. I do too. So just a little bit off. I'm a little bit more favorable on Barkley. I got Barkley at 7. Clearly not one of the top 5 backs in the league. But I don't think anybody in Philadelphia is saying that he's a top 5 back. Now, if Barkley performs, here's the one thing watch this. Here's the one thing that could absolutely blow this thing out of the water. Could Barkley end up being the 2nd or 3rd best back in the National Football League this year? All comes down to Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts. How is he going to be used? If they use him like they did DeAndre Swift, he'll be underused. If you pay $10 million, get this. Here's my problem with the money you paid Barkley. If you pay Barkley $10 million or $9 million, whatever it is, and you use him the same way you use Miles Sanders, remember what Xander said about the business of the game? I paid $1.5 million a year for both those players. I paid $3 million. I paid $9 million to get the same thing with one guy. It was a poor move. You don't get your value back. Think about what I just said. The last 2 years, you averaged 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns between Sanders and DeAndre Swift. Both those guys were making $1.5 million a year. You got a guy now making $9 million. If he gives you the same stuff, it was a poor contract. Do you realize the pressure he's under to supersede everything and overperform? 1,500 yards. Hey, so 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. 300 yards more for $7 more million. How's that worth? How is that economically worth that investment when I could have gotten somebody cheaper and put him back there? We'll see. Is Barkley, how about this? Is Barkley going to live up to the $10 million? You think he lives up to that $10 million compared to what you paid the last two guys? No way. No way. Will AJ live up to his money? Yeah. Will Devontae? He'll be right around there. Will Barkley? No way. No way. No way. Name the last high-paid running back that won a Super Bowl. Marshall Faulk? Marshall Faulk? I don't know. I can't name you one. That's like saying this too, though. Hey, name me one wide receiver that had big giant money, big money deal that won a Super Bowl. None. None of those guys have. Beast mode, he probably made good money in Seattle. He was the offense. But as a matter of fact, that's funny you say that, Twiz. I'll say this to you. When Beast Mode left Seattle, Wilson was never the same. Todd Gurley Fly got the money after the Super Bowl win. He didn't get it before. He got the money after, along with Clay Matthews Jr. They got that money after. Barkley's getting market value for today's running back. If the running back was what they used to be back in the day, they'd be getting paid like wide receivers. It's true. That market is completely flipped. It used to be the other way around. It's because the rules have changed. That's why the Eagles don't want a running attack, because the Eagles want to fit in today's NFL. Slagger, do you understand? That's why the Eagles have a problem with winning like they did in 22. The perception of how the Eagles ran people over, which kills me. I don't get it. Who cares how you get there? It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. But it matters to them how they look, like schematically. And from the eyeball test, well, this team, doesn't really throw the ball a lot. Their quarterback's more of a runner. Who fucking cares? I mean, I love that style of play. Eagles go on those insane first quarter, first half, 4 10-plus play drives. The opposing team had the ball 10 minutes. You're like, man, they'd run you off the clock. Now, they're not going to. They're going to be 3 and out, turnovers, and stall drives. You keep other teams in the game. You understand? You give away possessions when you can't run the ball. No matter what your lead is, if you stop running the ball, you keep every football team that you play against in games, no matter what your lead is. You could have a 21-point lead, but if you don't run the ball and you get a couple 3 and outs, you give possessions away. In 22, the Eagles didn't give possessions away. They ran the ball. Hey, and sometimes when they stalled, they would stall where? At the 20, the opposing team's 20. So they ran it on the field 70 yards, but they still were in field position, which helped their defense, which got the pressures, which played center field, and the sacks were up in high. They had such a great field position year that year. Brian goes, I'm sick of 3 and out. Hey, Brian, in 22, there wasn't very many 3 and outs. Remember what we were saying about the Eagles? What was the one thing that we had a kind of a criticism towards the Eagles when it came to they couldn't finish teams off. They get these enormous leads and they couldn't finish teams off. What was the big thing last year? Man, we keep everybody in games. That's a completely contrast difference. I think they need to run the ball more, especially early. Brian, first and second down. So get this, Brian. You're not only winning first and second down with the way you ran the ball, you're 1st and 9 because of the tush push. What an advantage. Every single series you had a year ago, you were 1st and 9, and you were winning first and second down. That's why you couldn't be beat, and you put 14 wins on the board. And no teams were really – nobody in the – hey, did anybody in that 22 season give the Eagles a game? Do you remember anybody giving them a game? Didn't Arizona give him a game? Was it the Cardinals? Didn't they give him a game? Washington, always hard. Right? Washington's last 2 years has been Packers came back. Jordan Love took over for Rodgers when he got injured late in that game. It was at, I believe, it was at Lincoln Financial. Texans did. Yeah, they were exceptionally balanced and they were good on defense. No getting around it. Okay. Here we go. This is going to be the Big Sills Power 32. Pre-camp 32. Just for shits and giggles here. Where do you have the Eagles ranked? Where would you put the Birds? Jags? Yeah, that was a wet game at Lincoln Financial, if I'm not mistaken. Colts were close. Yep. Barb goes 1. Got the Eagles 1. Yeah, that's right. Saturday was the coach. 4. 5. 14 sells. 15. Eagles ranked 7th. 15. Okay. I'm going to go 32 up for you. By the way, please hit the like button. Trying to get to 200 likes by the end of the program. Somebody could give us a running total. We appreciate it. Number 32. I think the Patriots are going to be the worst team in the National Football League. That dynasty, there's nothing left of it. You know how sometimes you see an old dynasty, like the Roman dynasty, you see like the Colosseum, and you see some of the, or Greece, you got the Parthenon, Stonehenge. That's what you're seeing now. You're just seeing relics and memories. I mean, so you hired a coach like Jared Mayo, who will be fired in 2 years. You're not going to give him a chance to succeed. Okay? I mean, damn. I hate to say this. Give a black coach the shittiest job in the league. Okay. I mean, if I'm Jared Mayo. But then again, the Patriots love the guy. He's a Patriot. They'll probably give him more if they see he's competent. But, man, what an absolutely shitty position to be Jared Mayo. Drake, they got Drake May. I didn't think Drake May was shit at North Carolina. I just did not. Drake May, okay, like Mitchell Trubisky, right? I mean, North Carolina quarterbacks. Okay, wake me up when you got one. I've never seen that program ever develop anybody at that position in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. I mean, number 31. I got the Carolina Panthers. I think that's a horrible roster and a horrible place to work. David Tepper has no temperament to be the head coach or the owner of the Carolina Panthers. He runs it like a hedge fund. You know, if he sees a stock in the hedge fund that's not performing, he wants to trade out of it. We can't do that in the NFL. You've got to have some patience in developing players and coaches and environment. This guy, I mean, will Dave Canales even make it through the year? Or is he going to pay another guy to go away? I mean, Bryce Young is in an unattainable position to succeed. You know why? You got an organization that doesn't know what winning looks like. Just because you can put a hedge fund together, that doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're doing. You know the difference between Detroit today and Detroit years ago? They ran the Detroit Lions like the Ford Motor Company. 100 different decision makers making 100 different opinions with no clarity on anyone making a decision. That's why they didn't win for years. They thought they could run it like a car company. Well, you got Brad Holmes in there now. You got a bunch of NFL people in the building that know what they're doing, talent evaluators. Detroit Lion football right now is the best it's been since the 1950s. I mean, when the Lions at one time, even I'm too young, but the Lions at one time from the 50s and 60s and going into the 40s, they were a dominant football team in the National Football League. Their organization under Joe Schmidt and them guys, they were without a doubt one of the better organizations of pro football was the Lions. And they've gotten back to that because they've gotten back to doing football. I get the New York Giants number 3 or number 30. New York Giants? I mean, what happened to the New York Giants? What happened to the Wellington Mayor and Steve Tisch Giants? This is insane. I grew up around that organization. I can't believe how all the missteps in player development, coaching disasters, the Dave Gettlemans of the world, the Flowers drafting, the Daniel Joneses. I mean, right. Tom Coughlin left. Dude, Tom Coughlin, 2 things, Xander said it. Everyone wished Eli out, and everyone wanted Tom Coughlin out. How's it been since? How has it been since Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning have left New York? It's been a train wreck. The Giant you know what this looks like? This looks like the Giants of the early 70s and late 60s. That spanned from like 65 to like 79. They were terrible. They were both New York teams, actually. Jets were better. But man, this is probably a little too low because I think Arizona's going to do well, but I got to see it to believe it. I said some great things just a couple minutes ago about Kyler Murray. Well, I want to see him do it. I think they've done a nice job in drafting. Let's see what kind of coach that Jonathan Gannon is too. Let's see what he can do. Number 28, Tennessee Titans. Where are they going? Holy cow. Hey, do we not agree that ever since the A.J. Brown trade, that thing's come off the rails? That thing's come off the rails. Has that not come off the rails since that whole disaster of A.J. Brown? Ever since Coughlin left, the Giants are going through what the Cowboys went through when Jimmy left. Yeah, I forget the Quincy Carters of the world. They went off the rails and Eagles became contenders instantly. A.J. Brown, a legend, baby. A.J. Owens, baby. I love him. I love me some A.J. Owens, too. Sills, you're too hard on him. No, I'm not. I never said, hey, he likes to cry a lot. He likes the attention. He likes to see his name. He likes the drama. He's awful productive, though. Isn't he? He's a diva. You think I'm a diva? I'm not a diva. I'm a humble man. Hey, I'm a humble man. You know this. GT, what up, brother? I'm a humble man. I'm not like A.J. Owens. I don't need all the publicity. I don't need that. It's not what I do here. I'm a man of the people. Okay? I'm a man of the people. I feel you. I understand you. See, I talk like you. You think I talk like John McMullen? All those fancy words like Xander? I don't talk with all them fancy words. I'm not a fancy guy. I'm very simple-minded. A simple person. That's a very you're not a wideout. Really? Do I look like one, Yale? Hook me up here. Number 27. I got the Washington Commanders. I think they're going to do great things this year. But again, here we are on June 24th. I want to see it. I want to see it. Hey, Sue, do you think Big Bill? Come on, man. Come on, Sue. You think I'm Big Bill? Hey, James Jones, I think they're going to do great things, but I want to see it. I do. I want to see it this year. Number 26, I got the Raiders. Dude, what has happened to the Raiders? Some of you are my age in here. Do you know that the Raiders used to have the all-time winningest percentage in NFL history all the way up until like 1999? They were the winningest franchise in pro football since 2000, like from 1960 to 1999 or 2000, some shit like that. Raiders had the highest win percentage. I should get that book because I think they used to put something in the media guide like that. And ever since Al Davis moved the team, they've been a shit show. What a tragedy. The Raiders used to be great. Player development, recruiting, drafting, everything. And you got Gardner Minshew as your quarterback? Okay, guy. Wow. I look at the Raiders today. You know, it's funny because I look at the Raiders and I look at them and I go, that was one of the teams when I was a young kid. That was the benchmark staple team that you knew was going to be great every year. And you're just like this. They're fucking a shit show. Number 25, Sean Payton and his Denver Broncos. How many people believe that Sean Payton's going to deliver a Super Bowl in Denver? How many people believe he's going to be the head coach of Denver in the next 3 years? Makes $25 million a year. Probably hang in there because he's making that money. Then he's going to go back into broadcasting. Dude, Sean Payton is today's version of George Seifert. He left the 49ers with that great record, went to Carolina. Everyone went, oh, okay. Number 24, the Minnesota Vikings, guided by J.J. Tebow. J.J. McCarthy is now the starting quarterback, who I like to call J.J. Tebow. Minnesota Vikings, or a.k.a. Baby Jesus, whatever you like. Yeah. J.J. Oh, my God. J.J. Tebow. Number 23, New Orleans Saints. Come on, Derek Carr. You got the easiest schedule on the planet. Let's do something here, son. Number 22, the Jets. You know, there's some people that think the Jets get to the Super Bowl. Whoa! Woo! You got your quarterback in a cave in Afghanistan smoking mushrooms, and you got your edge rusher, who I heard and they spotted from Sputnik, just clearing the Great China Wall, and he's on his way to Russia. I don't know. Where are we going here? Whoa! He might fight Godzilla or Rodzilla in the Japanese Bay. I'm not sure. Hey, Hassan Reddick versus Rawzilla. This guy thinks he's Jackie Chan. Hey, man. So, like, if you're from Japan, let me ask you this, guys. Hey, Yale. So if you're a Japanese person and you see this pretty large black man rolling through the Wuhan fish market, and here comes Hassan Reddick with the thing, a samurai sword, like a lafa, and then socks in this. I like the socks in the slippers idea. I don't like showing my toes either. Okay? And he's walking through. And you're walking through and you're a Japanese guy going, okay, what is this? I mean, right? It'd be like me walking through New York City and some guy dressed as what? George Washington? Okay, well, where's the party? Wuhan's in China. Okay. 187 likes. Come on, guys. Couple left there. You see, no. Oh, yeah, no. Hey, GT. No, I heard that when he was over in China. I heard that Dr. Fauci's the one that took that video. Then they went to Japan. I don't know, just rumors. No comment. Number 20. Hey, but seriously, look at your edge rusher and your quarterback. Yeah, right? Aaron Rodgers is in Saudi Arabia, somewhere in a sand dune. Hey, man, what do you think? These mushrooms are out of hand. I haven't had mushrooms like this. What a vision. I envision me winning 5 games again. Holy shit. You imagine that conversation Aaron Rodgers has? Wow, dude, these mushrooms are radical. They leave a really funky taste in my palate. Unbelievable. Whoa. Holy cow. Why do I wake up with my pants down and some little kid rubbing my feet? I don't understand. Oh, man. Number 21. The Seattle Seahawks. Come on, Gino. Number 20. I got the Chicago Bears. I think they got a lot of talent up there, man. I like what they've done. And they got Keenan Allen from the Chargers up there. They bring in DeAndre Swift. It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing's going to work out. Caleb supposedly not doing that great. Number 18. Number 19. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another team's got to show me. Come on, you got NTN. You got a good-looking wide receiver core. Your O-line's improved. Your defense, you made all those investments in. Come on now. Some of you are disgusting. Number 18. I got the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see how that whole thing works out there with Jim Irsay. Harry Krishna Irsay running the team. I do like Shane Steichen, and I think this kid Anthony Richardson could be something. We'll see. Who's the head coach in Chicago? Matt Eberflus. I thought that was shit you put on your car engine. Eberflus. I don't know. Number 17. I got the Atlanta Falcons here. Number 16. Here we go. This is the Big Sills Power 32 pre-camp. Here's number 16. You ready? I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 16. Now we are here at the top 15. At number 15. From the Los Angeles Chargers. I think they have a shot to make the playoffs. This is going to really get people. Hey, 304, Ultra Cowboy. You're not going to like this. I got the Dallas Cowboys at 14. Hey, a lot of people think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win 12, 13 games. I do not. Number 13, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 12, I got the Los Angeles Rams. Number 11, I got the Cleveland Browns. Here's your top 10. Big Sills pre-camp Power 32. Top 10. I got the Dolphins at 10. At 9, I got the Texans. At 8, I got the Bengals. At 7, I got the Buffalo Bills. At 6, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. At 5, I've got the Green Bay Packers. At 4, I got the Detroit Lions. At 3, I got the Baltimore Ravens. At 2, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. And at 1, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Eagles are going to have a pretty good fight on their hands because San Francisco, Detroit, and Green Bay are the only teams, in my opinion, that can threaten them on having a shot to make it to the NFC title game. That's if everything goes well. Okay? That's if everything goes well. All right. Where are we in the like list right now? Trying to get to 200, guys. Where are we in the like list? How many away are we for the likes? We need 8. Guys, please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills, please hit the like button, guys. I did a video earlier today, and I want to show you guys. I know you guys think that I'm hard on your Eagles or maybe your respective football team, like some Giant fans or Cowboy fans. But I put a video out there about my University of Miami because I got asked to. Come on, guys, 5 more likes. That'd be great if we can finish up with it. I said this. I'm sick and tired of all the fucking losing. Tired of it. 7-6, you're not relevant. 8 wins, you're not relevant. 9 wins, you're not relevant. 10 wins, you're not relevant. At times in today's college football, 11 wins, and you're not relevant. I used to think 10-1 seasons were awful. Now, if they win 9 games, that's a celebration. You know what that is to me? Don't call me and invite me to some shitty December bowl game. I'm not going. I play for championships. I don't play for recognition. My program back in the day, it was an Herculean feat when you beat us. It was the greatest thing your program has ever accomplished. Look at how Penn State celebrates that 1987 championship because they beat one of my teams. It's like their greatest victory in their program's history. They voted that. Imagine that. The greatest win in Penn State history is the win against Big Sills. And you know what that was to me? It was just another title game. That's the difference between the Canes today and the Canes then. That was just another title game. Came back next year and won it. I don't subscribe to being common. A program needs to get their shit together. I love Mario Cristobal, but it's time to win. I mean, hey, friends or no friends, you got to win, dog. Taking the Panthers tonight, Game 7, over the Edmonton Oilers. Should be a great one. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys have been spectacular. Thank you so much. How did Sills become the Eagles' voice when Sills never suited up for the Eagles or played for the Eagles? So how's Sills the voice of the Eagles? Not the voice of the Eagles. I listen to the voice of the Eagles and their fans. It's pretty easy. 215 Hood, if you know what you're talking about. Voice of the Eagles? I'm not the voice of the Eagles. The voice of the Eagles are the fans that come here every day. And if you say that I'm the voice of the Eagles, I don't know if I've ever said that. That's your own stupid brains. Xander, Big Joe, we appreciate it. Tomorrow, Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. Xander will be with us at 3:30. I love Xander's takes. We so appreciate it. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.